Today, we are blessed to have a writing seminar designed for outstanding teachers in the whole district of Rosario that allows to develop and revise existing research projects in the context of a structured intellectual community. Rosario Association of Research Enthusiasts presents First Virtual Research Colloquium 2021. This is the first day of the research program with the theme Research Innovation Responding to the Needs of New Normal. To our EPS in Araling Panlipunan, Dr. Emily R. Quintos. To our school district supervisors, Dr. Joelle Operegrino and Mr. Edgardo L. Aquino. To our research key administrator, Mr. Aristotle P. Alvarez. To our Rosario Municipal Research Committee President, Mr. Aries B Manalo, researchers and fellow teachers. This is your host, Robella Mahusay, and a pleasant morning to all of you. To start with, let us take quiet for the national anthem, prayer, Cavite hymn, and Rosario hymn to be played by the audio-visual presentation respectively.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiging, nagsasigatanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang binirang, tuyang ka ng pag-ibig, sa mantutunin, ikapasisitin, sa nagkakatutok, sa simayan, sa langit ang panggaw, ay hinatang lakaw, sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang at bawat mo'y ay nanatinig, ang itubig at parang na kailan, ang may dimatitinig, lumang ang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, ay langit sa piling mo. Ang bigaya ng pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Thank you for your goodness and dying love that saved me from the darkness. You have chosen me. You have chosen me. With your spirit, I will carry on, spreading your love to each and every one. You have chosen me. You have chosen me. Hide in my heart's desires to serve you, Lord, to use me as a vessel for a selfless love. Awaken your spirit in me, fill me with your grace, to bear a love like yours, to bring people back to their embrace. Mighty Lord, I thank looking for your goodness and dying. That save me from the darkness. You have chosen me. You have chosen me. With your spirit, I will carry on, spreading your love to each and every one. You have chosen me. You have chosen me. Hide in my heart's desires to serve you, Lord. To use me as a vessel of your selfless love. Awaken your spirit in me. Fill me with your grace to grow a love like yours, to bring people back to your desires to serve you, Lord, to use me as a vessel of your selfless love. Awaken your spirit in me, fill me with your grace to bear a love like yours, to bring people back to your embrace. I let my heart's desires to serve you, Lord, to use me as a vessel of your selfless love. Awaken your spirit in me, fill me with your grace to bear a love like yours, to bring people back to your embrace. Right in my heart's desires to serve you, Lord, to use me as a vessel of the selfless love. Awaken your spirit in me, fill me with your grace to bear a love like yours, to bring people back to your embrace.
Sa'yo'y kailangan,
Okay, welcome back. So for the welcome remarks, may I call in our research key administrator and the principal 4 of Rosario Elementary School, Mr. Marcos Aristotle P. Alvarez.
Yes, thank you very much, MC. To our top management headed by Sir Romel Bautista, our two ASDS, Sir Galileo Go and Sir Randy Ponsalan, our two chiefs, Ma'am LP Bergado of CID and Ma'am Dayan Topacio of SGOD, our parents of supervisor, Ma'am Emily Quintos, to our two PSDS, Sir Joelle Operegrino and Sir Edgardo Aquino, fellow school heads, rare officers, headed by Sir Aries Manalo, who was awarded yesterday as the best or the outstanding researcher in the province of Cavite. Congratulations. And to our coordinators, advisors, HTs, MTs, teachers, and research enthusiasts. Good morning and welcome to Rosario District First Virtual Research Colloquium 2021 with the theme Research Innovations, Responding to the Needs of the New Normal. And I am privileged to welcome you all in hoping that this colloquium will be a fruitulan. Good morning to all and thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Aris, for that very warm welcome. And now let us hear a message from our very own school district supervisor, Dr. Joelle Operegrino.
Thank you very much, Teacher Bella. Good morning to the prominent personalities who are with us today. I will not mention each one. And of course, I would like to congratulate the rare officers of Rosario or Rosario Association of Research Enthusiasts officers, because despite of the short notice, you were able to come up with this first virtual research colloquium. Of course, spearheaded by the outstanding researcher in Gawad Agham and Gawad Bandila, Sir Aries Manalo. Virtual clap for Sir Aries. I could say this group of researchers in the District of Rosario is one of the strongest teams we have in the municipality. I've witnessed even in the conduct of science investigatory project, the strong collaboration was truly felt. And I would also like to express our deepest gratitude to our invited speakers or speaker who is always there to provide technical assistance to our researchers, one of the personalities behind the success and recognition of the Project Ituloy of Rosario Elementary School and the official entry of SDO Cavite Province in the regional CI Symposium, who was recognized as 4th best CI presenter out of 22 entries. Thank you very much, Ma'am Ann Romanes, for the untiring support. And Rosario District is truly blessed to have this kind of educators who have big hearts in searching for facts and providing solutions to some pressing issues that our teachers are facing through various researchers. We all know that educational research improves teaching and learning methods by empowering us with data to help us teach and lead more strategically and effectively. As Albert Szent-Györgyi has stated, research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. Let us keep on producing scholarly researches for us to continue to provide quality education for our fellow educators and of course for Batang Rosario. So again, congratulations, rare officers, and thank you for this opportunity and for serving our Batang Rosario. Again, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of this colloquium.
Thank you so much, Joelle, and thank you also for that very informative message. And now let us have another message from our another school district supervisor. I see. I was informed that Sir Ed is not available at the moment. So let us hear another message from our EPS in Araling Panlipunan, Dr. Emily R. Quintos. I think Ma'am Emily is also not available at the moment. So at this juncture, let us proceed. Okay, at this juncture, let us now proceed to deliver the raison d'etre of this activity. Let us call in Miss Kathleen Cassip, our rare business manager.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, good morning, everyone. So let me read to you the rationale of this research activity. Next slide po, ma'am. Rosario District is one with the goal of the Department of Education in instituting the culture of research with the aim of using it to policy and program implementation. With reference to Department Order Number 16, Series of 2017, and Department Order Number 13, Series of 2015, and in support to DepEd's policy development process, research agenda, and policy development implementation, DepEd Rosario seeks to strengthen and further its research practices and innovations to improve learning and education, especially during this time of pandemic. In light of reinforcing these policies, Rosario District will hold a two-day district-wide virtual research colloquium to intensify research implementation with the theme Research Innovation Responding to the Needs of the New Normal. The objectives of this activity are as follows: to cultivate the culture of research among the teachers in the district, to develop timely researches suited to new normal conditions, and to provide an avenue for research presentation among the teacher researchers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Kathleen. And now for the mechanics of the event, may I call in our CARE President, Mr. Aries B Manalo.
Okay, to all our guests, so hindi ko na po iisa-isahin sa ating pong mga dalawang PSDS, si Sir Edgardo L. Aquino and Sir Joelle Operegrino. At sa lahat po ng school head, lalo-lalo na po sa aming advisor ng Research Association, at the same time is the MRC Chair, Sir Aries Alvarez. At sa lahat po ng researcher na naririto at ating pong mga school head, isang mapagpala at mabungang araw po sa ating lahat. I was tasked po to give the mechanics of the activity. Bago po ang lahat ay ipinararating po, pasensya na po kung ang ating pong keynote speaker ay hindi agad nakarating. Pero ang sabi niya po sa akin, ngayong hapon po ay siya ay pipilitin niyang makadalo. Meron lang pong ilang activity na kailangan tapusan sa division. Gayon din po ang ating pong parent supervisor na si Ma'am Emily Quinto ay kasalukuyan po nagbibigay din ng kanyang message. That's why nagdire-diretso po tayo. So to further continue and to give the task that was given to me, the mechanics of the event, as of now po, we are already doing the opening program for this activity. So after this po, ng opening program, we have the presentation of the researches for the plenary, na unang-una po ay ang researches po ng isa sa ating magagaling na researchers, si Ma'am Rowena Andoy with Sir Joelle Operegrino, at ang inyong pong lingkod ay magpe-present din. After po ng dalawang plenary, we will have now the introductions of the panelists na siya pong titingin sa lahat po ng paper entry for best oral presentation at best paper. Meron po tayong tatlong invited na panelists coming from various district of the division of Cavite. Okay po. So aside from that, on the second day po ay yung morning, kayo po ay binibigyan po ng laya na tingnan lahat po ng infographic video presentation na nasa Rosario Educational Media na i-upload po ni Ma'am Rowena Andoy. At doon po ay pwede kayong tumingin, mag-benchmark on the various researches that we have, and at the same time is to give feedback on those researches. Kasi po, upon the evaluation po, ay hihingan po kayo ng feedback about these researches or reflection on your learnings on those researches po. Okay po? So, then after that, this is the first time and the first virtual research colloquium na magkakaroon po tayo ng awarding ng ating best paper, best oral presenter, at meron din po tayong award for best infographic video na ipe-play po on the second day. At the same time, ay bibigyan din po natin ng recognition ang school na may pinakamataas na bilang ng research presentation. So ito po ay ating ginagawa in preparation po ng ating pong mga distinct or yung mga naa-aim natin na lumaban for outstanding researcher. So inihahanda po namin kayo na sa susunod pong laban, sana po isang muling taga Rosario ang siyang makakuha ng mga awards na ito. Muli po, ang aking pong pasasalamat sa inyo. Hindi ko po mararating kung ano man po yung nakuha ko parangal nung nakaraan kung wala po ang tulong ng bawat isa. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Sir Aries, and also a big congratulations. And now, we have the panelist for the presentation of the plenary. We have Arvelin C. Calambunao, our rare officer.
Good morning, everyone. So it is a great pleasure to introduce to you our panelists for today's virtual research colloquium. So for our first panelist, she is the head teacher 3 of mathematics at San Jose Community High School, the Division of Cavite Association of Research Educators or DCARE Secretary. She is also the president of Municipal Research Secretariat at General Mariano Alvarez, a division research reviewer, regional research pool of reviewer, an LR evaluator at national, regional, and division level. So presently, she is the school research coordinator at San Jose Community High School. She is also a qualifier or a top 5 qualifier at the Regional Learning Resource. She was also awarded as the Best Action Research in Mathematics and the Outstanding Teacher at General Mariano Alvarez, year 2015. So without further ado, let us welcome our first panelist, Ma'am Elizabeth B. Dizon. A virtual clap for Ma'am Dizon. Our second panelist is a teacher 2 at Maragondon National High School. She is the West Unit representative of Division of Cavite Association of Research Educators or DCARE. She is also the secretary at the Division of Cavite Teachers Incorporated. Our second panelist is also a recipient of various awards, such as Service Award, Gawad Dagundong Award, and Teacher of the Year Award at Maragondon National High School. She was also awarded as the Idol Kosi Teacher Award at the Municipality of Maragondon and Husay ng Gurong Caviteño Award at the DepEd Cavite. So our third panelist, she is none other than Ma'am Cindy N. Alejandrino. A virtual clap for Ma'am Cindy.
Morning po.
And our last but not the least panelist for our today's research colloquium is a Master Teacher 2 at DepEd Amadeo National High School. Presently, she is the Vice President at the Division of Cavite Association of Research Educators. She is also the President at the Division of Cavite Association of Senior Science Educators. And she was the President of the District of the District Pamunuan ng Mananaliksik ng NAIC. Our third panelist is a recipient of the prestigious awards, not only in Division of Cavite, but also in the Region 4A Calabarzon. So let me tell you some of her awards received. At the year 2021, she was awarded at the Gawad Agham Outstanding Senior High School Master Teacher First Place. She was also awarded as the Outstanding Senior High School Teacher Researcher First Place. In 2021, Gawad Agham Outstanding Achievement Award. 2021 Gawad Agham Science Leadership Award. 2021 Gawad Agham Service Excellence Award in LR Production. Excellence in Science Research Award, Outstanding Science Educator National Award. She was also given the Bayanihan and Service Excellence Award Writer in General Physics 1 and 2 at the Region 4A Calabarzon in year 2021 as well. She was also awarded as the Outstanding Educator in Science at the Luminary Excellence in Education and Research Awards, or LIRA, and Outstanding Researcher Award at the same award-giving body. In year 2019, she was awarded the Municipal Outstanding Researcher at the secondary level and the second place Outstanding Researcher at the DepEd Division of Cavite, Gawad Bandila. And in year 2018, the Outstanding Researcher Secondary during the DepEd Naik District Gintong Ani 2018. So without further ado, let me introduce to you our third panelist, Ma'am Loida A. Arce. Please clap our hands for Ma'am Loida. Thank you po.
All right, thank you, Ma'am Arvelin. And once again, a round of applause or virtual round of applause to our panelists for this session.
Una pala.
All right, and this time, let us now proceed to the part one of our plenary session. And I just would like to inform everyone that these researches are not included in the entries later in the part two of our plenary session. These researches were the entries or researches that were presented in CID for district and division level. So let us have now our first entry or research entitled Challenges Faced by Secondary School Heads on WINS Program Implementation, Basis for Division Work Plan by Aries B Manalo.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me present my presentation. Just inform me po kung kita na ang aking presentation. Kita na po ba ang aking screen? Kita na, ma'am? Okay.
Yes po, sir.
Saglit lang po. Ang tagal umikot. Yan. Okay, ba't nasa unahan na agad? Hintay po. Okay. Ayan. Okay na po, kita na. So bago po ang lahat ay pasasalamat po ang aking ibinibigay sa ating mga kaibigan at invited panelists na naririto, sa Ma'am Lorda Arce, kay Ma'am Elizabeth Dizon at kay Ma'am Cindy Alejandrino. Sila po ay mga close friends na talaga naman po pagdating sa Division at Cavite ay walang sawang sumusuporta po sa lahat ng mga research, implementations and research project ng ating division. So maraming salamat po sa ating tatlong invited panelists. So as of now po, this is the first time po that I'm going to present this research. Actually, this is the second research that I have for this year, which actually dalawa po ito. Yung isa po ay kay Ma'am Ann Magsambol, yung for the elementary level. Ako po ang naantasan for the secondary level. Okay po. So let me present my research titled Challenges Faced by Secondary School Heads on the Implementation of WINS Program, Basis for Division Work Plan. So let us start po. Okay. So for the introduction and rationale, as we all know, COVID-19 gave us a great challenge. Lots of struggles are being faced by the education sector, not only the education sector, but almost all sector of our community. For this reason, this research, ito po yung aking introductions and rationale. For the education sector, immediate response was made in different parts of the world to combat the impact of the pandemic. Hindi po natin po pwedeng pabayaan ang ating mga bata at hindi pwede po nating pabayaan ang education to be affected by this pandemic. Okay? It was noted that 2020 Brigada Eskwela aimed to promote safe and sustainable living. Furthermore, it should highlight the applications of knowledge and convergence of effort to address the required health standard and social issues at home, in school, and in a community in the context of COVID-19. As we all know, if the education is important, it is also, we should not neglect the necessity of our health and safety of our learners. Okay? So, DepEd Order number 14, series of 2020, known as the Guidelines for the Required Health Standard in Basic Education Emphasis and School, was also issued in response to COVID-19 mitigation. This particular DepEd Order further emphasized the needs of enhancing the WINS program or the Wash in School program so that we could fight whatever effects that COVID-19 could do to us. Okay po? So furthermore, this DepEd order recognizes the importance of hand washing and sanitation practices in reducing transmissions of COVID-19. As I said, strengthening the implementation of WINS program at home, in school, and in the community were encouraged and was emphasized in this issuance. Okay. In lieu to this, the researcher of this program determined the necessity of conducting an analysis on the challenges faced by the school head in the Wash in School program in the division of Cavite Province for school year 2020-2021. Okay. So for my research question, generally, the research aims to determine the challenges faced by school head in implementing the Wash in School program in the division of Cavite Province, and specifically, it will answer the following question. Number one, which indicator or indicators of Wash in School program showed outstanding accomplishment? Number two, which indicator or indicators of Wash in School program implementation challenged the school head? And number three, what support program can be proposed to school head in developing the Wash in School program implementation during the new norms. Okay. So for the scope and limitation, in the process of determining the challenges and accomplishment, appropriate intervention or technical assistance that can be provided, the categories of wash in school program considered in this study was adapted from the matrix attached in Depth Order number 10, series of 2016. Okay. Categories not mentioned in the said metrics will not be part of the study. Only the challenges and accomplishment in each category for the last 3 years will be covered by the study. The study will start on October 2020 and will end on February 20. Actually, pasensya na po, medyo nagkamali yata ako on the input, but that already, this is already finished na po. Okay po? Nagkamali ako ng date. Okay, for the methodology, for descriptive, the methodology use descriptive method of research using a survey questionnaire wherein there is a Likert scale for each indicator given and an open-ended questions to know the input of the school heads for the support program they needed in this research study or in this program. So total enumeration of the subjects of the school head in the province was asked to answer the questionnaire through Google form. The respondents were composed of WASH implementing school who were rated with 0 star to 3 stars. So you already know yung rating natin on the WINS program, which is the 0 star to 3 stars po. Okay. For the methodology, survey questionnaire focused on different indicators of WASH in school program. These indicators were adapted from the matrix on Depth Order number 10, series of 2016, titled Policy and Guidelines of Comprehensive Water Sanitation and Hygiene in School or WINS program. Okay. For the methodology, in compliance to the ethical standards of conducting research, the author of this study seek all necessary permit to DepEd and Cavite Province officials. Actually, there is even a memorandum issued in order for the secondary school heads to answer the forms. Letters of consent was also secured through the Google form. Results and all data gathered in this study was held confidential. Copy of the result will be furnished to school leaders with a permit from the participants. Okay, so here are the data. For data table number 1, this pertains to the percentage of responses of secondary school heads under the provision of clean and safe drinking water. So if you would notice there, the lowest is that the lowest indicator who has the lowest percentage mean is the school wanted to provide safe drinking water, but there is a problem in the supply. So meaning, there is a problem on providing safe drinking water among our secondary school. So 35.09% lang po yung sumagot. But if you would also see, the highest is water sources were available for cleaning purposes at all times. So that is meaning, yung major use ng water po natin among the secondary school is only for cleaning. There will be problem if I would ask students to or the school to provide providing a safe drinking water. Okay, so those are the problem that we see on this particular table and of course the highest indicator that we have. Okay. While for data table number 2, it has something to do with the percentage response of secondary school head in observing sanitation practices under the WINS program. So at this particular data table, we would see that the lowest percentage mean we have here is something to do with the school had toilets solely for person with disability, meaning all secondary schools, if they have comfort room, this is solely for students that has no problem in their health or even disabilities. So minimal, those are schools who have separate toilets for persons with disability. Okay? Then, aside from that, the highest is that budget for maintenance and toilet, hand washing facilities, and other water facilities are included in the school MOOE. So, we must give our school heads a round of applause, especially for the secondary schools for this reason. At least, miski pa paano, hindi po nalilimutan ng ating mga secondary school heads na mag-allot ng budget para sa toilets, hand washing facilities, and other water facilities to be included on the MOOE. Okay po? So next. Okay. Data table number 3 have something to do naman po on the percentage response on secondary school head in waste management practices under the WINS program. So, at this particular data table, the lowest po is 31.58. That have something to do. School had a compost facility to alleviate problem in garbage collection. So that was sad na bilang pong kasama sa programa ng WINS program. Actually, kasama po sa WINS program ang pagkakaroon ng compost facilities in every school. So therefore, medyo nakakabahala na 31.58% lamang po out of the 59 schools ang yung may problema pala. Yung may problema po on having the compost pit. Okay. Then the highest naman po had something to do with kitchen and wash area has appropriate drainage system. So medyo madali yung provide po ng drainage system para po sa ating kitchen at sa mga wash area. Okay po. So that's it. Another, for data table number 4. Okay. That is something to do with the percentage response of secondary school head in observing proper hygiene and under the WINS program. So ang pinakamababa po dito ay yung sa pagpo-provide po ng toothpaste with fluoride. So alam naman po natin na medyo mahirap po sa part ng school head kasi ang fluoride po ay medyo mahal. Okay? So at this point, siguro mai-consider ng ating division na isaalang-alang so that kung nag-aspire tayo to be the best division on implementing the WINS program, isaalang-alang ang pag-provide po ng fluoride among our students. So isa po iyon sa nakikita. And ang highest po dito, if I'm not mistaken, is the conduct of hand washing activity. So talaga naman po, alam naman po, lalo na po dito sa Rosario, lahat po ng school are actually conducting hand washing activity na talaga naman na malakas po ang ating WINS program. Okay po? Okay. For this one naman po, ang lowest po natin ay dalawa. It has something to do with the 85% of students were the worm at yung approved ISC material are available in classroom and other strategic places, in toilets, hand washing facilities, and others. So, noong tinignan ko po itong data na ito, hindi po ako na bigla on the indicator number 2, wherein yung 85% of the students were the worm. Because even as a WINS coordinator, kami man po ay nagkaroon ng problema on this particular part. Why? Lalo na po noong panahon na nagkaroon ng issue about 10 baksya, medyo nahirapan po kaming kunin yung 85% ng student namin ay may the worm kasi isinasaalang-alang po ng mga magulang yung health ng kanilang mga anak. At hindi naman po natin pwedeng ipagpilitan ng isang programs or projects sa ating mga magulang. But, on the latter end, noong napaalalahanan na po namin sila, noong napaliwanagan, ay na-reach naman po ulit namin yung percentage na yon. But on indicator number 3, medyo nakakabahala po. Bakit ito ay mababa? Why? because yung approved IEC material are Googleable. Ibig sabihin po, pwede po nating mag-Google. Yung indicator po sa 3 winds, pwede nating mag-Google. So, it was alarming. Paano nangyari? Simple lang naman po, kumbaga sana ipiprint lang yung IEC materials na meron. Ngayon po dito sa ating distrito, kung meron pong may problema regarding this, I am very much willing to give you a copy. Kasi meron po akong copy. O kung si Ma'am Ann Magsambol po ay ma-approach natin, meron din po siyang copy ng mga IEC material. What is that IEC material? IEC material are those material, halimbawa po pamphlets na ginagamit for hand washing, for toothbrushing, yung mga food safety, at kung ano-ano pa po sa waste segregation. So ito po yung mga approved IEC materials that we have in the WINS program at madali po itong hanapin sa Google. Okay po? Okay. So for the results and discussion, I have here the following findings. So the problems being encountered by the secondary school at the division of Cavite province are the following. Una is the provision of safe drinking water for students face a great challenge wherein secondary schools ito po yung to asking students to bring safe drinking water for their consumption. Actually, isa po sa matataas na indicator, makikita nyo may sumagot sa school na they could provide safe drinking water. Pero nung sumunod na indicator, makikita nyo naman na lagpas pa doon sa percentage response ng mga school yung nagpapadala ng water among the students. So meaning, hindi talaga nakakapag-provide kasi kung nakakapag-provide po ang school, they would not ask the students to bring safe drinking water. Okay po? So meaning, there was a problem on the provision of safe drinking water for the secondary students. Okay? Aside from that, yung provision of toilet for menstrual hygiene were also evident. Only 47% of secondary schools in the division. Ito po yung ikalawang indicator aside doon sa pagpo-provide ng toilets for students with disability. So try to imagine secondary schools po ito na kung saan ang puberty stage, ang menstrual cycle ay doon po nag-i-start sa ating mga grade 7, grade 8, grade 9. So it would be proper enough and good enough na mabigyan sila nito. Okay po? The same and similarly the same for providing facilities para po sa ating mga disabled. Okay? Aside also, challenge was observed on the presence of compost facility to alleviate problem in garbage collection and in constructing material recovery facilities. So, if every school would be, okay, sabi nga natin kung yung ating pong initiative on waste segregation would start in the school or even would start in our home. So, kasi tayo po ang nagtuturo. So, siguro, nagtuturo tayo ng waste management. Ang problema, wala po tayong compost pit. So, the tendency or wala tayong material recovery facilities na kung saan po pwede nating ilagak yung mga waste material na pwedeng i-recycle o i-reuse doon po sa material recovery facilities. So, nagkakaroon po ng problem. So, paano po mapapractice ni school ang waste segregation kung walang paglalagakan? The tendency of our school head is to dispose this material sa municipal collection. Tama po ba? So, yun po yung aming nakikita. Okay, next. Okay. Challenge on daily toothbrushing with fluoride, as I said, is a part of the struggle facing by our secondary school heads. Actually, noon po, bilang WINS coordinator, kami po ay nakipag-coordinate sa Colgate to have this. Kala namin kami po ay sponsoran. Ang naging problema po is actually, ay meron po pala siyang payment. Pero siyempre naman at minimal amount. So, maybe if our division or our district could provide this particular part, aside from the deworming tablet, aside from other, ay maganda po na magiging resulta para po sa kalusugan or sa dental hygiene ng ating mga mag-aaral. Okay po? So the provision of regular supply of fluoride must be addressed, and reaching the 85% of students deworming was also a struggle. So regarding this po sa reaching the 85% of students deworming, the proper way po to motivate our parents is a proper orientation for them so that they would understand what is the objective of the program. Ang mga parents naman po, basta napapaliwanagan ay napapapayag. So, nasa tamang pamamaraan lamang po ng encouragement. Okay po? Okay. Now, for the research and further results and discussion, secondary school heads that the strength of their school, ito po yung mga strength that was recognized by the secondary school head. Okay? One is the provision of enough and hand washing and toothbrushing facilities. Halos po lahat yata ng ating mga secondary schools ay na-focus sa pagpapagawa ng ating mga hand washing facilities at toothbrushing facilities. Lalo na po ngayon panahon ng pandemic na importante ang mga hand washing facilities. Actually, ang nauuso po sa hand washing facilities na ngayon ay yung no touch. Sabi nga yung hindi mo kailangan hawakan yung gripo para magamit mo yung water, or hindi mo kailangan gamitin yung hawakan yung soap dispenser para magkaroon ng sabon ng iyong kamay. So, ito po yung nauuso ngayon. Pero as majority po ng ating secondary school head have enough hand washing and toothbrushing facilities. This was also followed by some schools acknowledging yung role ng parents, teachers, and students and other stakeholder as their strength. So meaning, majority po ng support that is being or the major support na nakukuha ng ating mga school heads, especially in the secondary, is from our stakeholders. Okay? So importante din po iyon on the WINS program. Kung kayo po ay lalaban sa WINS program or sa anuman, kailangan po ma-facilitate ang ating mga stakeholders. Kung saan man po ay sa distribution, sa pagpapacilitate ng mga toothbrushing and hand washing activities, ay kailangan po natin ang ating mga parents, teachers, and students. Okay? And there were few who mentioned and acknowledged waste management as their strength. Meron pong iilan, kasi nakita naman po natin doon sa data, kung ibabangga po natin yung sagot nila on the data that we had, it is a fact na may problema on the waste management and must be strengthened. So how are we going to strengthen it? Strengthen the YESO organization. So through this, may strengthen din po natin ang waste management. And of course, providing yung proper facilities for waste management or the proper trash can for the waste management. It was also noted that none of the secondary school heads consider the warming as their strength. Try to imagine. Kaya po pala ang daming the warming tablet na minsan po ay hindi na i-distribute, ay bibihira po talaga. Siguro nga ay nagkaroon tayo ng problema regarding sa deworming dahil nga po hindi natin basta-basta mapipilit ang ating mga magulang to deworm. So I think proper program or an intervention program, orientation of parents must be done in order to strengthen the deworming. Okay? Another, results of question number 1 was verified by question number 2, wherein the greatest challenge posed by the secondary school heads were seen as a part of the warming. Thus, this also justifies the finding on table number 5, which pertains to reaching the 85% of the warm students. The researchers also noted challenge on waste management. Okay. Support programs seen and requested by school head focus on continuous monitoring of WINS program. This was followed by asking support on the warming and waste management. Some mentioned about assistance on the provision of facilities for, especially for provisions of fluorides for learners were also mentioned. Ang nakakatuwa po dito, may mga talaga naman po ang ating po mga school head are aiming for improvement to the WINS program. Kasi po sila po mismo ang nagre-request, sana daw po, kung makikita nyo po yung mga responses nila, sana daw po ang WINS program ay namomonitor na mas diligent. At ang ano po ay sana daw po ang WINS program ay hindi lamang papel, kung hindi talagang nagagawa as part of the activity. Meron po akong ganoong nabasa sa mga responses po ng ating school head. And I am happy for that kasi naman po ay ibig sabihin we are on the right track. We are on the right track because our school head were aiming on improving the WINS program, especially during this pandemic period. Okay, in conclusion, implementation of WINS program was a necessity during the pandemic period. Hand washing activity must be continuously practiced with balance on other aspects of this program. This can be done by consistently monitoring and evaluating the results of the program, not only in the division level, but also on school or district level. Support program must be given for this effective implementation. So therefore po, sabi nga po natin, if we wanted to improve the WINS program, proper monitoring and evaluation must be done. At syempre, yung suporta po na manggagaling sa ating higher ups. Okay po? As a recommendation, the researcher of this study acknowledged the needs of this program. Thus, the following recommendation were suggested, looking for the factors where some indicator were not met by the school. So tingnan po natin individually yung mga factors. Bakit po ba hindi na met yung mga problems? Like for example, sa deworming, you could make research on the perceptions of parents on the deworming process. So yun, binibigyan ko na kayo ng title po for researches. So pwede nyo pong i-discuss yun based on this study. Pwede nyo po akong gamitin ang ating study as a basis. Then sabihin nyo po na you could conduct a study on the perceptions of parents why this deworming process was not achieved, or what is the reason. Okay, then aside from that, you could also have a research on the reason why the waste management, the conduct of waste management in school is also a struggle. So those are, I think, the necessary study that you could conduct out of this. Okay, then aside from that is also crafting a good intervention. If you wanted, yung unang dalawang researches po na ibinigay ko is a basic research. Una is the perceptions of parents or school heads on they face on implementing the deworming process and waste management. So ito po ay parehong basic research. Yung ikalawa naman po is an intervention. Anong intervention ang pupwede natin? This will be an action research. Anong programs or project yung pwede natin gawin for deworming? Kayo na po, kung ano po yung may isip nyong project for the deworming. Anong project yung pwede natin isipin for waste management? Baka pwedeng strengthening the YesO program and its impact on the waste management implementation of the school. O title would also be a title. Okay po? So these are the recommendations that I have in this study. Okay? So for my references po, ito po ang aking references. So I think that was the end of my presentation. And thank you very much for listening. Thank you po. If you have question po, you could give me some of your questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Aris, for presenting your research. And I think there are no questions about it. Yes, and we will entertain questions later in the part two of our plenary session. Okay, let us now proceed to the second research entitled School Emergency Planning and Management Practices Among Public Schools in Rosario District Amidst Pandemic. Basis for School Emergency Operations Plan by Joelle Operegrino, Edgardo L. Aquino, and Rowena B. Andoy.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So I'll be the one to present some of the parts of this research. But before that, let me first recognize and thank our invited panelists, whom I consider part of the pillars of SDO Cavite when it comes to research. Thank you very much, Ma'am Beth, Ma'am Loida, and Ma'am Cindy for gracing our research colloquium.
Welcome po.
Good morning, sir. Thank you po.
Morning.
Morning po. Thank you po, sir.
Thank you. So it is my honor and great privilege to present our research paper entitled School Emergency Planning and Management Practices Among Public Schools in Rosario District Amidst Pandemic, Basis for School Emergency Operations Plan, with of course Sir Ed Aquino, Ma'am Weng or Ma'am Rowena B. Andoy, and Sir Julius Cesar or JC Ilailo as researchers. Sige, Ma'am Weng. Hindi kayang i-full screen siya. Yung slide, Ma'am Weng, hindi kayang ma-full. Okay, anyways, for the context and rationale, clearly the disruption of the education calendar caused by the COVID-19 pandemic created many challenges for educational institutions, the likes of which have not been experienced in recent history. One of the immediate obstacles was figuring out how the school year would be continued while ensuring the safety of the student body, faculty, and staff, while complying with state-mandated closure. Clearly, the impact of the pandemic has emphasized the need for a documented school basic education readiness and continuity plan that is periodically stress tested and reassessed. As risk management in public schools continues to evolve, now is a good time to review, update, or in some cases, create the school's basic education continuity plan. The main objective of this study was to determine the school emergency planning and management practices among public elementary and secondary schools in Rosario District towards development of school emergency operations plan. Specifically, this paper aims to answer the following research questions. 1, what are the challenges in relation to school planning and management encountered by the public schools in the District of Rosario amidst pandemic in terms of the following: resources management, accountability, and participatory decision making. Next, what are the school emergency planning and management practices among public schools in the District of Rosario amidst pandemic in terms of resource management, accountability, and participatory decision making? And the last, based on the results of the study, what school emergency operations plan may be proposed. To address the aforementioned research questions, this study employed the use of descriptive research design. The reason for selecting 22 respondents of the study was based from the sampling technique used and due to large population and time constraints for the researchers. But despite of these methodological limitations, the researchers believe that that these were the key elements in better understanding the school emergency planning and management practices among public schools in the District of Rosario amidst pandemic. The research instrument in this study was a survey questionnaire that was adopted from Gabatino 2002 to determine the school emergency planning and management practices among public elementary and secondary schools amidst pandemic. The said questionnaire was composed of 5 areas of school planning and management, including resources management, accountability, participatory decision-making, and management. A 4-point Likert scale as a rating system was used to assess the responses of the respondents. The data that includes responses obtained from the survey questionnaires were analyzed using descriptive statistics and tables. Percentages, average, and rank order will be used to present the findings. And for the findings, this will be presented by Ma'am Rowena Andoy.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sir Joel. And for the research question number 1, this table represents the challenges in relation to school planning and management encountered by the public schools in the District of Rosario amidst the pandemic. In this table, the data shows that resources management yielded with a mean of 3.68 and interpretation of always. Accountability yielded with a mean of 3.33 with the interpretation of often. And participatory decision-making yielded with a mean of 3.26 and interpretation of often. The overall result of the challenges in relation to the school planning and management encountered by the public schools yielded with an overall mean of 3.42 and interpretation of always. And for the research question number 2, in this table, it shows that for the planning and management practices among the schools in the District of Rosario amidst the pandemic, the data shows that the resources management of often, accountability yielded with a mean of 3.69 and interpretation of always, and participatory decision making yielded with a 3.74 and interpretation of always. Overall, the school planning and management practices among public schools yielded with an overall mean of 3.54 and interpretation of always. And for the research question number 2, or go back with the research question number 2, the results revealed that participation decision making is the priority and strong points of the respondents in school planning and management, while resources management is the weak point. So again, for the research question number 1, the data revealed that the decision making is the strong point of this research, and the weak point is the resource management. In the research management is and the respondents is the participatory decision making. So these are the proposed emergency operations plan for the research question number 3. Number 1 is the empowerment of the DepEd personnel offices, schools, and learners in ensuring safety and learning continuity. For number 2, institutionalization of school disaster risk reduction and management, climate change adaptation, and education in emergencies. And next is strengthening of the resilience of basic education in the context of natural human-induced hazards. And the next one is establishment of coordinated packages of interventions to ensure learning continuity and resilient interventions. And lastly, development of strong partnership with external stakeholders. Now, this is our, next please. This is our conclusions of the study. The result revealed that the challenges in relation to school planning and management encountered by the public schools focused on resources and participatory decision management. In addition, accountability is the strongest point in handling and resolving the challenges in school planning and management amidst the pandemic among public schools. So, for our recommendations, the proposed school emergency operations plan, based on the study's findings, is highly relevant and necessary for addressing the school planning and management practices among public schools in the District of Rosario amidst the pandemic. So, the implications of the study, this may serve as the catalyst in improving managerial methods and identifying the needs that cause the weakness in achieving effective managerial performance among the public schools. Also, this study may serve as guide to the educational officials in the formulations of policies and guidelines relative to the disaster risk reduction and management specifically to COVID-19 pandemic. So these are our references. Okay, that's all for our research, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much for presenting your research, Sir. Thank you so much for presenting your research, Sir Joelle and Ma'am Wang. Okay, and I would like to correct myself. There will be no questions to be entertained on this part because these two researches are not included in the 11 entries that will be presented later in the part 2 of this session. But if you have further questions about these two studies, you can privately message the researchers for your questions. And that would be the two studies for the part 1 of our plenary session. And now we are going to continue the part 2 of our plenary session, and we will have the first entry. And anyway, for this part 2, we are going to choose the best research papers and best research entries among the 11 public elementary and secondary school in Rosario District. And also for the best oral presenter. Okay, let's proceed now to the first entry of this session. We have the title of the study, Comic sa Modular na Konteksto, Estratehiya sa Paglinang ng Antas ng Kaalaman sa Asignaturang Filipino ng mga Mag-aaral sa Bagong Kadawian, by Jemmy P. Navidad and Lorena P. Bandol.
Hinap lang. Sisimula na ba? Wait lang po. Ayan, sisimula na.
Okay na ma'am, kita na po.
Isang maganda at mapagpalang umaga po sa ating lahat. Ako si Ginang Lorena P. Bandol at ang aking kasama, Binibining Jenny P. Navidad ng Paaralang Elementarya ng Bagbagdos. Narito po kami upang ipresenta ang aming pananaliksik na may pamagat na comic sa modular na konteksto, estratehiya sa paglinang ng antas ng kaalaman sa asignaturang Pilipino ng mga mag-aaral sa bagong kadawian.
Ako din. Paapat yun.
Para sa introduksyon, ayon kay Kathleen Cassip, 2017, ang paggamit ng comics ay isang epektibong estratehiya upang mapukaw ang kawilihan ng mga mag-aaral sapagkat naglalaman ito ng mga kawili-wiling mga larawan at linyahan na pupukaw sa interes ng mga mag-aaral. Ayon kay Musumdar, 2016, ang comics ay isang diversibong estratehiya na naglalaman ng mga genre, larawan, pagbabasa at pagkatuto. Nakatutulong din ang comics sa pagbuo ng bokabularyo at motibasyon para sa mga mag-aaral. Ang layunin ng pag-aaral. Ang pag-aaral na ito ay nagnanais na tayain ang kabisaan ng comics sa modular na konteksto bilang pamamaraan o estratehiya sa pagpapataas ng antas ng kaalaman ng mga mag-aaral sa baitang 6 sa asignaturang Pilipino sa Paaralang Elementarya ng Bagbagdos. Inobasyon at interbensyon. Ang comics ay sa konteksto ng modular ng mga mag-aaral ay naglalaman ng mga sumusunod na katangian. Una, naratibo. Ang comics ay naglalaman ng mga naratibong medium na nasa forma ng larawan at teksto na napakahalaga sa pagbuo ng kalikasan at atraksyon para sa mga mag-aaral. Pangalawa, panel. Ang comics na nasa naratibo ng pagkakasunod-sunod sa pamamagitan ng frame at panel. Ang mga ito ang indikasyon ng dibisyon ng oras at espasyo. Pangatlo, justiposisyon ng panel. Isa sa mahalagang katangian ng mga panel ay ang espasyal na pagkakasunod-sunod nito na tumutukoy sa mahalagang detalye ng mga naratibo. Gutter at closure ang panghuli. Sa comics na ay kakikitaan ng interpretasyon ng mga larawan at teksto bilang medium ng mga naratibo. Mga katanungan. Una, ano ang antas ng kaalaman ng mga kalahok batay sa panimulang pagsusulit? Pangalawa, ano ang antas ng kaalaman ng mga kalahok batay sa panapos na pagsusulit? At ang huli, may kabuluhan bang pagkakaiba ang antas ng kaalaman ng mga kalahok batay sa panimula at panapos na pagtataya? Para talakayin ang metodolohiya ng aming pag-aaral, narito po ang aking kasama, Binibining Jenny P. Navidad.
Magandang umaga po sa lahat. So para sa susunod na bahagi, ang metodolohiya. So ang disenyo ng pananaliksik ay pre-experimental one group or pre-test post-test. At ito ay nilahukan ng 10 mag-aaral. At ang instrumentong ginamit ay pre-test at post-test. At ito ay may sa pagsusuri ng datos ay ginamit ang mean, standard deviation at paired t-test. Para naman po sa resulta, sa unang katanungan, so batay sa talahan na yan, ang mga kalahok ay nakakuha ng 2.3000 at 0.67495 na standard deviation sa unang pagtataya. At para naman po sa ikalawang katanungan, so batay sa talahan na yan, ang mga kalahok ay nakakuha ng 19.400 na mean at 0.84327 na standard deviation sa pangalawang pagtataya. Para naman po sa ikatlong katanungan, so ayan po, batay sa talahan na yan, sa paghahambing ng resulta na panimula at panapos na pagtataya, nakapagtala ang mga kalahok ng 0.000 na significant value. Ipinakikita ng resulta na may kabulahang pagkakaiba sa academic performance ng mga mag-aaral ayon sa panimula at panapos na pagtataya. Para naman po sa konklusyon, batay sa resulta ng pag-aaral, natuklasan ang kabisaan ng mga comics sa modular na konteksto nang tumaas ang antas ng kaalaman sa Filipino ng mga mag-aaral. Para sa implikasyon, malaki ang potensyal ng comics sa pagtuturo. Magandang gamit panturo ang mga ito sapagkat nakaganyak na ito para sa mabilisang pagtugon sa mga pangunahing puntos at konsepto ng paksa. Kung lubos na magagamit sa pagtuturo ang comics, tiyak na mas makapagbibigay ideya ito sa mga mag-aaral upang mas ma-develop ang likas na potensyal. Narito naman po ang mga pinagkunan namin or mga references. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Jemmy and Ma'am Lorena. And now we will have first, before we proceed to the next entry, we will have first a 5-minute question and answer portion. If you want to ask something, just click the raise your hand button so that you will be recognized. Ma'am Jinky is raising her hand. Please go on, ma'am. I think there will be no questions for our first entry. Our panelists, maybe you have questions. Okay, Ma'am Elizabeth Pizan has a question.
Good morning po sa lahat. Napakaganda no kasi nung araw tayo, hindi, nakaano po ako. Okay po? Nadidinig po ba ako?
Yes po.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Maano lang natin tayo ay ano na, nasa ano na ako eh. Ibig ko sabihin, noong araw, talagang mas madaling matututo ang mga bata noon dahil nagbabasa tayo ng comics, ano. Napakaganda niyan kasi parang binubuhay uli yung dating kultura noon. So, inano siya sa module. Kaya lang po, ingat po tayo dun sa yun po bang nagamit na kasi pag comics may mga may mga drawing. Tama po ba ako? May drawing po ba kayong ginamit doon?
Yes,
See to it na ma-attach dito sa inyong research yung talagang ginamit mismo sa research niyo, sa study niyo. Then kailangan see to it yung nandoon may social content siya na talaga siya na talagang na-assess siya na-evaluate talagang maigi para lahat ng guidelines kasi titignan niyo rin yung guidelines ng LR. Kailangan nandoon din. Lalong-lalo na po yung social content niya. Then yung niya, naka-anchor ba sa milk, dapat lahat po yun nandoon. Then para mas maano po, kailangan naka-attach siya dito sa research niyo para makita ng mga reader. Para maging example na rin, ma-adapt din ng iba. Okay po ba? Lang po yan, hindi ko question. Parang suggestion lang po.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oo. Ingat po sa sa paggagawa ng ganun. Kasi parang kaakibat siya ng LR. Kasi magpo-produce kayo ng babasahin. Lalo na, ano po ba to elementary? Yun. Kailangan po ingat doon. Lalo doon sa social content. Kasi di ba ang dami ngayong nagkalat na module na medyo na bibigyan ng pansin dahil may kahit konting ano lang, mali lang.
Error.
'Di ba? Mga error
Opo,
minsan na
ma'am.
nagiging katawa-tawa pa minsan, 'di ba po? 'Yun,
Yes.
ingatan po 'yun. Gusto pong ano, i-suggest ko talaga makita po yung actual na ginamit niyo po dun sa study. Okay po? Thank you.
Thank you po. Good morning
Okay.
po.
Good morning po, ma'am.
Good morning po.
Ang sa akin lang po din ay hindi naman po question pero mga suggestion lang or recommendation para pa po lalong mapaganda po yung ating study. Una po dito yung sa ating pong statement of the problem. You mentioned po that is you have the pre and the post test regarding po dun sa paggamit ng comics. So tama po, I agree with Ma'am Beth kasi parehas po kami nasa LR, not only in research. Siguro maganda po, nakakadagdag din kredibilidad ng ating paper yung siya po ay na-evaluate din ng qualified evaluator yung ating material. And then regarding po sa statement of the problem, you mentioned about the pre and the post test, pero hindi po nabanggit doon sa statement. Nandun siya sa general statement of the problem, yung academic performance. Kasi later on the other parts of your research, you mentioned that is academic performance in relation to the pre and the post test of using comics. Tama po ba?
Okay.
Ano lang pa, congruency on the terms. If you mention on one part of your paper that is academic performance pre and post test, so you may mention that on the other part of the paper. Hindi po na iiwan yung word na academic performance kasi magkakaroon po ng confusion yung ating pong reader or yung babasa po ng ating research paper. Then another po, on the part of the methodology, you may also mention if your tool that you use on your study was evaluated by an expert. Still, nakakadagdag din po ng credibility dun sa ating paper. So kahit po siya standardized na, even that was adapted from previous study, mas okay po na na-check pa rin po ito ng ating mga experts. If really the instrument would answer the research question on the statement of the problem. And then po doon sa ating presentation or the result and discussion, technical aspect lang po kasi po ang ating mga research ay malaki pong part doon ay yung technicalities. On the table po, be sure that you have the proper label of your table to answer the research questions. Kasi po nakalagay po kanina ay descriptive statistics po na label ng table. It should be the pretest result. Then dun po sa other table, ganun din po. Kung siya po ba ay post-test, kung siya po ba ay comparison of the pre and the post-test regarding on the use of comics. So, then kapag po educational research or social research po yung ating ginagawa, wala po tayong ginagamit na vertical lines on the table. It should be horizontal. So, pwede pong magpa-assist po tayo sa ating mga ICT on how to express or use the horizontal line on the tables.
Okay.
Then, last na po, pasensya na po, para po sa kakaganda pa po ng ating
Okay
paper.
lang po, ma'am.
Makarating pa po ito sa national or international. Maganda po
Wow.
na improve pa po natin yung ating papers. I'm just worried lang po, actually kagabi parang ni-research ko pa yung inyong research design that you use the pre-experimental. Suggestion lang po, kung okay lang po, pero kung sa palagay po ninyo, okay naman na pre-experimental, nasa sa inyo pa rin po yung decision. I'm just worried po for the word pre-experimental kasi nga po ito naman po ay educational research, and since you will just use the one group for the pre and the post test, parang kasi po the pre-experimental is considered one of the weak experimental research design. Hindi rin naman po talaga kayo magpo-focus sa experimental aspect ng inyong research. Maybe it is proper to use the descriptive research design.
Okay po, ma'am.
Yun lang
Thank you
po.
po.
Salamat po sa inyo.
Maraming salamat.
Is ano descriptive?
Morning. Ay, basic ako.
Good morning po.
Good
morning po,
ma'am.
Opo, ayan. Dagdag lang po doon sa nasabi po, nabanggit na po ng ating Ma'am Beth, tsaka po Ma'am Loida. Itatanong ko lang po sana mga ma'ams kung ano po ba yung pinakahugot po ng ating pag-aaral or yung tinatawag po nating baseline data. Mahalaga po kasi na iyon po ay ma-include din po sa ating context and rationale, lalo po dito ay action research. Ano po? Ayan. Ang pinaka-baseline data niyo po pa dito ay yung result po ng first quarter.
Second quarter po, ma'am.
Okay po. Ayun. So, pwede ko po bang malaman kung ano po yung resulta po ng academic performance po ng mga bata ng first?
Sa pretest po, bali po kasi ang ginawa namin, ma'am, sa result na ba? Ibig sabihin napili na yung mga bata. Sa pretest po, ma'am, yung lahat na 6 na section sa grade 6 po ay inanon po muna namin ng katanungan or pretest na meron pong 20 katanungan na nag-base po kami sa Filipino ng grade 6 ng second quarter. Tapos mula po dun sa resulta, sa bottom section na po kung iyon, yung may pinakamababang score na section, ay pumili pa po kami ng 10 may pinakamababang score po.
Ayun. So, ibig sabihin po ba mga ma'ams, first quarter pa lang nakita nyo na nasa very low, let's say, yung pong mastery ng mga bata. Ano po? Yung kanilang academic performance. So, yun po yung pinaka naging hugot nyo ng study. Kaya po kayo nag-come up ng ganitong intervention, yung paggamit po ng comic strip. Ano po? Para ma-improve ang academic performance nila. So yun po, suggestion ko lang din po na mahalaga po na ma-stress out po natin under context and rationale yung pong baseline data kung bakit po kayo nag-come up ng ganitong study. Ano po? So pa-include na lang po iyon doon sa part po na iyon. And then another thing po, si Ma'am Jemmy naman po ay na-reply na ako kanina dito sa paper kasi naglagay din po ako ng mga notes. Ano po? So, iyon pa-include din po kung kailan niyo po na isagawa yung pag-aaral. Then nabanggit niyo na naman po na ito po ay second quarter na i-conduct. Ano po? Ayan. So, under po yun ng yun po, proposed intervention, innovation, and strategy. Tapos po, wala na po akong masabi sa mga nabanggit ni Ma'am Beth kanina. Yun po yung sa LR, no po, yung social context nga po, dapat na-consider. Tama po yun. Pati yung kay Ma'am Loida, yung statistical lens naman, ngayon ko lang din po yung nalaman. Thank you, Ma'am Lloyd. Talagang ano. And then, yun po, ma-share ko lang din po sa inyo, ito naman po yung natutunan ko kay Ma'am Mayan. With regards po doon, tama po yung pong sa RQs ninyo, yung research questions na inaalam nyo po gusto nyo pong malaman yung antas ng kaalaman, yung level of academic performance, ano po, na tinatawag natin in English. So, okay po yung inyong RQs. Pagdating lang po dun sa results and discussion, mahalaga po na ma-specify po natin, hindi lang po yung pong data, kailangan po makategorize natin yung data. Ito po ay 20-item test. Ano po?
Yes po, ma'am.
Opo. So, nung pre-test po, ang mean score nila ay nasa ano po ba? Nasa 2 point something, ano po. So, mahalaga po na makategorize po natin yung anong level po ang mga bata doon. Ito po ba ay very low, parang sa lower result po, di ba po?
Yes po.
May categories.
Categorize.
Opo, yon yung mga scores. Para makita po natin kung talagang nag-improve po yung kanilang academic performance. Kasi kung sasabihin po natin na what is the pre-test result, what is the post-test result, or kung sa PhilErie, yung PhilErie pre-test, post-test pre-test, what is the MPS score, yun po kasi ay mga questions na masasagot na po kaagad. Pero kung tatanong po natin is yung academic performance level, so doon po papasok yung kailangan po makategorize natin yung results, no po. So kung test po ay very low sila, pagdating ng post-test po, di ba po, ang talagang nag-boost from 2 point something naging 19.
19.
So, sa tingin ko po yan ay under the category na po ng mastered. Tama po. So, talagang nakita po natin na very effective po yung intervention kung very low tapos naging mastered. So, yun po. Yun lang po yung aking suggestion, karagdagan po. Congratulations po, napakaganda po ng inyong study.
Thank you so
Maraming
much
pong
po.
salamat. Noted po lahat ng ano nyo.
All right. Thank you so much, Ma'am Beth, Ma'am Cindy, and Ma'am Loida. And also to our researchers, Ma'am Lorena and Ma'am Jemmy, congratulations. And now, before we go to the next entry for this session, we are going to go first to our speaker for this program and to introduce our keynote speaker. Let us have Ma'am Marivic A. Galianoza, our rare secretary.
A blessed day to each and everyone. I'm Miss Marivic A. Galianoza, Secretary of Rosario Association, Research Enthusiast. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you our keynote speaker for today. She graduated magna cum laude from Cavite State University with a degree of BS Agriculture and earned her MA Education in Educational Administration in the University of the Philippines, Diliman. She received the Senator Lauren Legarda Academic Excellence Award in 2010. She also received International Academic Forum Scholar from IAFOR in 2018. She was an Innovator Awardee from Schools Division Superintendent Special Cavite's Outstanding and Valiant Individual Deliverer Awards in 2020. She was a Visionary Leader of the Year from DHS Foundation India. She was a member of these international organizations, namely DHS Foundation India INC, Asian Qualitative Research Association, Philippine Research, Innovation Management and Educational Systems INC, and last one, Ascendance Asia International Members Club. Our current Educational Program Specialist in Planning and Research of the Department of Education, SDO Cavite Province. It's my honor to introduce to you our very passionate and hardworking SEPs in Planning and Research, Ma'am Mayan Joy D. Romanes.
Thank you for that very generous introduction. Grabe, na-pressure naman ako. Kahit konti lang po doon sa mga para may kahit yung aking designation na lang po, para nakaka-pressure pala to, Sir Aries. Hindi po, ito na po ang aking pangalawang webinar for today. Sige, batiin ko po muna ang ating mga presenters, ang ating mga katropang MRCs. Gulat ako, nandito po ako mga few minutes ago. Nakakatawa naman, talagang #support ang ating mga MRCs. Kaway-kaway, Ma'am Cindy of Maragondon District, Ma'am Loida of Amadeo District, and Ma'am Beth Dison of GMA. Nako, grabe. Hindi ko akalain, grabe. Mga support.
Good morning po, Ma'am Mayan, Idol.
Wow.
Thank you po.
Thank you mga ma'am sa pag-support sa isa't isa po. Sa ating mga care officers, sa ating mga program management team, MRC officers, of course, Ayan po. Kung magkakasama kami kahapon ng dalawang
Ma'am, excuse me lang po. Ma'am Donna, paki-mute po ang inyong mic. Ma'am Donna. Ma'am Donna. Ma'am Donna Cano.
Ayun, sige po.
Okay na, ma'am.
Thank you po. Siyempre sa ating mga advisors, ang ating mga PSDSS, Sir Joel, nakita ko po si Sir Joel, nasa link na to, Sir Ed Aquino. A pleasant morning to each and everyone. Kasi tayo, ewan ko kung sa Rosario, pero sa amin maganda po ang panahon dito sa Inda. Kaya nakakatuwa po, parang nataas din po ang mood ko kapag maganda ang panahon. Congratulations po sa ating mga presenters at sa ating MRC in advance. Hindi pa po tapos ang activity pero I'm very positive na magiging successful ito. Kitang-kita na maganda po marami pong learnings. I'm sure hindi lang po yung presenter but also yung mga umattend po dito sa ating colloquium. I am tasked to deliver a talk on research innovation pero hindi to masyadong mahabang talk. I'm just sharing to you the perspective of yourselves in research innovation. Research innovation responding to the needs of the new normal. But I know this is already the final colloquium, so pwede nyo itong i-apply sa susunod nyong research na po. Sa susunod na research. Ayan. Education when we check the literatures on education. Pag nagbasa po tayo ng mga literatures noon yung ngayon, pareho din naman ang mga problems na natin sa field ng education at kahit sa DepEd o kahit sa mga education institutions. Iba-iba lang sila ng form, kaya iba't ibang taon. Kasi kailangan natin tingnan na nalala dito sa mga problemang to kasi hindi naman bago itong mga problemang to eh. Tapos gumawa tayo ng mas magandang plano kaysa doon na applicable dito sa ating konteksto lalo na at new normal. Maganda din, tingnan natin yung mga existing issuances. Kasi lagi tayo mahirap pagka humihiwalay tayo dito sa mga ibinababa sa atin ng mas nakakataas na office eh. Madalas na ang nagiging implikasyon nito yung parang nauulit ang paghingi ng data, nauulit ang pagproseso ng data. So maganda, tingnan na natin kung ano yung mga issuances na nailabas tungkol dun sa problemang inaaral natin, ano yung mga data ng school, yung mga reports ng school. Halimbawa, SBF. Ano pa? Pwede natin tingnan yung research para kung nalalayo ba tayo o springboards of your next research. And from those issuances, from those documents, you can find or you can identify a problem. By the way, iba ang innovation sa intervention po. Ang intervention, yan ay solution to your problem. Propose solution to an identified problem. Pag innovation, yan yung intervention din siya, pero hindi pa siya nagagawa o nagagamit doon sa identified problem ninyo. So, posibleng ang innovation ninyo ay hindi na bago. For example, okay po, nakita ko yung message, just ako. For example po, ang problem ay yung accessibility to information. Ito ay yung old normal pa, yung accessibility to the information and the steps sa mga services ng division office. So, marami ang hindi familiar, marami ang naliligaw kapag may mga queries sila sa pagpunta sa division office. So, ano ang innovation ng division office? Ang innovation ng division office ay yung kiosk. Kung familiar kayo sa kiosk, sa info kiosk, pag pumunta kayo sa division office, meron doon kiosk. Pero ngayon hindi na ginagamit kasi hindi pwedeng hawakan. Ayun. Kung familiar din kayo sa mga mall, di ba may kiosk na doon? Hindi naman bago yung kiosk na yon, yung concept ng kiosk. Pero considered as innovation siya kasi hindi pa nagagamit yung innovation na yon or yung kiosk na yon, yung device na yon for that problem na na-establish na division office, ng mga proponents ng division office. So, hindi talaga necessary na kailangan talagang unique na hindi pa naiisip ng kahit sinong tao. Hindi kailangan yun. Ang tingnan lang natin, nagamit na ba ito sa problema yun? Yun po ang innovation. Iba namang problema. Ayun. Ang aking tip sa inyo, tingnan nyo po ang DepEd Order 44 Series of 2015. I know may mga kasama tayo dito, kasama ko din sa CIP, very familiar na sila doon. Ay, congratulations nga po pala, Rosario Elementary School sa CIP. One of the top presenters. Yay! Very good. One of the top presenters sa ating nakaraang CIP presentation sa region. Ayan, pagpapatuloy pa yan at dadami. Congratulations, Sir Aris. Dadami pa yung CIP. At
Thank you po. Thank you.
galing-galing talaga. Kung napanood nyo po yung presentation ng Rosario Elementary School, talaga magiging proud po kayo. Anyway, may video naman po ang ipinasa sa akin ng RES. Mai-upload po sa DepEd Cavite Research Channel para makita nyo rin po. Kasi CIP, yan ay muli natin palalakasin. Tuloy-tuloy na tayo. Yan ay isang form din ng action research. So, tinitingnan ko ngayon yung angulo na pag-merging yung dalawa para hitting two birds with one stone na po ang ating mga school. Kasi kasama yan sa SBM, hinahanapan ng ipilitin ko sa akin makakaya. Ayun. Pag pinag-merge natin, edi mas madaling maka-ipon ng mga MOVs, makakomply doon sa mga requirements ng CI. Ayun. So, going back, ang daming segue. Ano po, relax lang po muna. Ayun po. Department order sa SIP at saka sa SRC. At sasabihin po sa akin ng iba, ay ma'am, ano kinalaman noon sa research? Ay may kinalaman po. Dahil nandoon yung isang standard ng pagpili ng magandang research topic, ng magandang research problem. Alam niyo po, ang daming problem sa schools. Yan po ay hindi lang sa DepEd Cavite. Actually, lahat naman talaga ng schools, private, public, talagang ang daming problem. Hindi naman natatapos yan eh. Kahit tingnan niyo po ang mga libro, kaya nga po may mga graduate programs about admin, management, ang daming mga leadership styles na mga inaaral. Kasi nga, walang perfect solution. Walang perfect system. Kasi kung may perfect system, huwag na tayo mag-aral nun. Gawin na lang natin. Yung tanong, alin dito sa mga problems na to yung ating ipaprioritize? Doon sa DepEd Order 44 Series of 2015, may mga criteria doon. Kung ano ang ating ipaprioritize na problem sa school. Una, strategic importance. Hindi lahat po ng problem sa schools masosolve ninyo. Merong mga problem na, pag sinolve, solve kasi magkakaugnay sila. Pangalawa, urgency. Kapag kailangan na, as in ngayon na, wag nyo na pong i-research ha, kailangan hindi na siya abot ng 6 months. Ang i-research nyo po ay yung good for kakailanganin pa rin kahit 6 months na or more. Kasi nga, tayo po ngayon ay nakabase na sa research calendar ng region. So, kailangan medyo 9 months. So, yun, medyo safe na tayo doon. Ayun po. So, anong sinabi ko? Strategic importance, urgency, magnitude. Baka meron kayong dalawang research problem na pinagpipilian. Pero ang tanong, pero ano yung pipiliin nyo? Research problem na bet ninyo, pero kakalaman ko. So, isa yun sa consideration. Dapat, ang tawag doon, dapat mas maganda, mas efficient, na kahit hindi, na ito yung ating effort, mas marami tayong maabot. So, ang last na criteria for choosing a research problem is feasibility. Kahit maganda ang research nyo, kung hindi naman yan feasible dahil sa ECQ, then pag-isipan nyo mabuti kung dapat pa ba yan i-research o merong mas okay naman. Today, you can start with your research right now. In preparation for the 7th birth ng ating tinitingnan. I hope na mas marami pa tayong mga grantees. By the way, congratulations to all of us. Tayo ang number 1 sa Calabarzon in terms of the quantity of research submissions for birth. At dami nating tinalo. Although hindi naman ako nakikipag-compete. Nang malaman na hindi tayo nahuhuli. No, ang ating focus, nandun tayo sa quality. Pero, well, number 1 pa rin tayo sa quality kasi tayo pa rin pinakamarami granted birth ng buong Pilipinas in terms of birth. So, tayong lahat ay parte ng achievement natin. We are looking forward to more and more birth grantees. Maganda din kasi nare-recognize tayo ng higher offices at mas magandang platform yun para mas malayo ang maabot ng ating mga researches. So, iwan ko sa inyo aking mga tips for innovation. Una sa lahat, magbasa. Huwag mapagod magbasa. Kaya talaga ang buhay nating mga researchers. Dahil sa pagbabasa, marami tayong naiisip, marami tayong mga ideas na nabubuo. Na kung hindi tayo magbabasa, basta lang natin isipin na tupo tayo. Pangalawa, magtanong po tayo. Huwag mahihiyang magtanong. Magtanong tayo, hindi lang sa ating mga co-teachers, hindi lang sa ating school head, hindi lang sa ating mga learners. Magtanong tayo sa mga parents, sa mga partners natin na LGU, private organizations. Ano ba yung may contribute nila dito sa research na ito? Ano ang makakontribute nila dito sa knowledge na binubuo natin para sa research na ito? Mas maraming isip, mas okay. Mas maraming nagtutulong-tulong na nag-iisip. Mas gumaganda yung research natin. At on top of that, kapag may collaboration sa stakeholders, matatamaan na rin yung ating SBM, yung ating goal sa SBM. Ano pa? Wag lang kayo magtanong, makipag-collaborate kayo sa kanila, baka meron pala silang maitutulong sa inyong research o meron pala silang ibang idea sa kanilang research. Kasi marami tayong iba't ibang mga experience, mga iba't ibang nakakasalamuha. So, meron tayong iba't iba talagang ideas. Ang diversity is our strength. So, Pagka nakuha nyo na po yung inyong mga data, please make sure na hindi titigil, pagka natapos nyo ng inyong research, sorry po yat, natapos nyo ng inyong research, please make sure hindi lang yan matatapos dyan. Kailangan yan ay magko-continue, masusustain nyo yan. Merong mag-utilize ng inyong research. Kung walang mag-utilize, kayo na po mismo mag-utilize ng inyong research, i-check nyo kung baka naman pwedeng ipa-replicate sa ibang mga group of students, sa ibang mga group of teachers or ibang mga stakeholders. Tingnan niyo po. At pagka kayo po ay nandito na sa team research, bawal na pong umalis. Kailangan masustain niyo na po na kayo po ay laging nandyan po sa research. Hindi po tayo pwedeng mabawasan. Dapat po tayo ay nadadagdagan. Ayun po. Kasi, pag tumigil kayo sa research, ang dami-dami nyo pong mamimiss. Ang bilis po ng facing ng mga update sa research. So, example po, yung APA 7th edition, naalala nyo po yun? Tayo po ay ongoing na nun dun sa 4th CareCon. Biglang nagkaroon by October ng bagong edition ng APA 7th Ed. Na bago yung 6th edition nung sa 4th CareCon. Pero ang bilis, di ba? Biglang may 7th edition at may mga marami-rami ding nagbago. Ano pa? Yung mga softwares. Dati, mano-mano tayong nagsasite ng mga ng ating mga references. Ngayon, hindi na. Lagay nyo lang yung URL. Punta kayong SiteFast. CITEFAST. SiteFast. Sa inyong Google. I-type nyo lang dun yung URL. Automatically, magsasite na yun ng APA 7th edition. Diba? Merong bagong update doon. Ano pa? Yung mga softwares for computing yung ating mga raw data. For example, gusto nyo mag-compute ng paired sample t-test. Ayan. In yan sa action research ang paired sample t-test na yan. Pero hindi kayo masyadong magaling sa SPSS or wala kayong SPSS. Hindi rin kayo masyadong magaling sa Excel. Meron po online sa Google na calculator for paired sample t-test. Lagay nyo lang dyan ang raw data ninyo. Meron na dyan, lalabas na dyan. In 1 minute, lalabas na dyan yung mga tables. Tapos meron pang complete with interpretations. Tama naman ang lumalabas na check ko po. So, okay siya. Okay siya kasi hindi mo kailangan maging sobrang techie or maging parang sobrang galing sa math para ma-solve yung mga yun. Ano pa? Meron ding mga online calculator for independent sample t-test, for regression, di ba? For correlation. Ang galing nga po ngayon, ang dami-dami ng available na technology. Yung mga medyo nahihirapan po sa pagsusulat kasi proofread pa, may Grammarly na po ngayon. Nahihirapan mag-paraphrase, meron na tayong Philbot. Ang dami-daming mga hacks po ngayon na pwede nating gamitin for research. At pag kayo umalis pa po sa team research, ay mamimiss nyo po iyon. Baka pagkabalik nyo ay luma na po yung inyong knowledge at marami na po ulit pag-aaralan. Pagka nandito ay di paunti-unti ay nakukuha, hindi isang bigla. So with that, let me end with a quote. There is no research without action. There is no action without research. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Mayan, for that insightful and for all the tips that you have shared. I am sure that our researchers will consider all of those on the other upcoming studies. Thank you again, ma'am.
Thank you, Ma'am Mayan.
And now to present the certificate to our keynote speaker, may I call in Mr. Aries B Manalo.
Ma'am Andoy, okay. Bago po ang lahat ay isang taus-pusong pasasalamat po sa ating napaka-very supportive na SEPs ng Planning and Research, Ma'am Mayan Romanes. Iyasa po yan sa iniidolo ko dahil siya po ay walang kapaguran. So talaga naman po kung magtrabaho si Ma'am Mayan ay talagang mapapahanga kayo. So to present the certificate for our keynote speaker, let me read The content of the certificate of recognition was given to Mayan D. Romanes for sharing her time and expertise as keynote speaker during the first Rosario District Virtual Research Colloquium held on October 29 to 30, 2021 via Google Meet. Signed, Joelle Operegrino, Public School District Supervisor, and Edgardo L. Aquino, Public School District Supervisor. Congratulations po, Ma'am Mayan, at maraming salamat po. Thank you. So let us give a round, a virtual applause for Ma'am Mayan.
Sir Aris, I will kita, hindi ka rin napapagod.
Okay, thank you po.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Aris. And once again, thank you so much, Ma'am Mayan. And now let us proceed to the second presenter for this session. The study is entitled Quizzes, an online learning platform to improve the academic performance in Araling Panlipunan amidst the new normal, by Davina D. Lilo, Beret Christine U. Limpiada, Jean Rose C. Absit.
Tingnan mo muna, tingnan mo ba? Parang nawawala yata sila, ma'am. Sige, ma'am, next muna. Okay na. Yes. Po ba, Ma'am Divina? Carry na po sa internet?
Apo.
Okay po.
This po. Siya na po. Mental siya na. Okay lang po kami kanina.
All right, let us just wait for our presenters to present their study.
Wala nang lumabas dito.
So, pleasant morning to everyone. A pleasant morning to everyone. We are here to present our action research entitled Quizzes, an online learning platform to improve the academic performance in Araling Panlipunan of Grade 8 learner amid new normal. I am Berit Christine Olimpiada with Mrs. Divina Dililo and Mrs. Jean Rosie of Seed from Bagbag National High School. For the context and rationale, according to Cocoglo and Tecdal 2020, distance learning has several advantages over traditional classroom education. These advantages include the utilization and sharing of several resources at the same time, interactive, collaborative sharing and interaction in the learning-teaching process, GUO 2010. There are several applications in the digital world that the teacher can use to have an engaging learning amid the pandemic. Thus, the researchers adopted the use of quizzes, a game-based online learning platform in teaching and learning process amid the new normal setup. So what is Quizzes? Quizzes is an online assessment as well as teaching and learning tool which allows students to use the teacher-made lesson and quizzes in both synchronous and asynchronous format. After providing students with a unique access code, a quiz can be presented live as a timed competition or used for homework with a specific deadline. After the quizzes or lessons have been completed, students can review their answers real time. Furthermore, the resulting data were compiled into a spreadsheet to give the teacher a clear visual of students' performance in order to analyze trends in which areas might need the most focus in the future. Next is the research innovation strategy. Here are the steps on how to utilize quizzes as part of teaching and learning process that were used in this study. First is we have get started. Second, creating quiz or lesson. Third, setting it up. Fourth, launching quiz or lesson. And fifth, feedbacks and reports. For the research questions, I am now giving the floor to Ma'am Jean Rosie of C.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Christine. So, good morning, everyone. For the continuation of our presentation, please allow me to discuss the research questions to study the effectiveness of the quizzes in online distance learning to improve the academic performance in Araling Panlipunan 8 among grade 8 students of Bagbag National High School during new normal form of education. Okay, specifically, this study sought to answer the following questions. First, what is the result of the pretest of the participants of the study? Second, what is the result of the post-test of the participants of the study? Third, is there a statistically significant difference on the pre-test and post-test of the participants of the study. Okay, let us now proceed to the research methodology. So this section consisted of participants and or sources of data and information, data gathering methods, and data analysis plan. This study of used pre-experimental method utilizing one group pre-test post-test design. Due to the number of students available and have access on quizzes, there are 20 grade 8 students who were identified with difficulties in understanding the learning competencies of Araling Palipunan based from the pretest result were chosen using a non-random or purposive sampling. Okay, so the data were collected using a standardized 20-item test that was adapted from the teacher-made questionnaire during the Right Shop in Araling Panlipunan and validated by master's teachers from different districts. So the test consists of 20 questions that assess the participants' academic performance in Araling Panlipunan 8 in second grading period. The results of the pre-test and post-test of the participants were compared using paired t-test. Okay, for the discussion of results and reflection, here is Ma'am Divina Lilo to present it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Jean. So, to discuss the research result and discussion. To answer the research question number 1, so we use the descriptive method to analyze the pretest result of the students. So the data shows that the participants' pretest yielded a mean of 2.6000 and a standard deviation of 0.59834. To answer the research question number 2, we use the descriptive statistics for the post-test result. And the data shows that the participants' post-test yielded a mean of 19.2500 and a standard deviation of 0.78640. For the research question number 3, we compared the pre-test and post-test of the participants using the paired sample t-test. The data shows that the difference of the participants' pre-test and post-test before and after the integration of quizzes. The results obtain a p-value of 0.00. This means that there is a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test of the participants. Thus, the findings reveal that after the integration of quizzes in teaching Araling Panlipunan 8, the participants improved their academic performance. Through the integration of quizzes in teaching Araling Panlipunan, it was observed that students read the material, placed in the right attitude for learning, felt more confident to discuss the material, improved their grades by simply reading the material, become aware of start of class, provided a good lead-in for either a lecture or discussion of the material, grew curious about the answers, and did well on the given chances, which gave them a feeling of self-esteem. Lastly, teaching is changing. Today, there is more focus placed on equality and welfare, and supporting students through their learning. Thankfully, the old way of drill and skills has mostly gone by the wayside in favor of different teaching tools that are more effective at fostering a love for learning while reinforcing and consolidating skills such as quizzes. Here are the reference for our study, and that ends our presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, researchers. And now we are open for a 5-minute question and answer portion. To our panelists, if you wanted to add or ask something.
Good morning po.
Good morning po.
Ayan. Yung pong aking clarifications ay katulad lang din po ng kanina, ma'am. Tapos, andito nga po ako sa paper ninyo ngayon, Ma'am Divina po. Ano po?
Yes po.
Ayan po. Ayun po, kagaya lang din po nung kanina, yung pong baseline data ninyo po dito ay yung po bang nakita nyo pong resulta po ng kanilang performance ng first quarter? Ano po?
Yes po, ma'am. Bali, ang naging baseline of data po namin ay yung pong LOA po during the first quarter po. So, the study shows, and based na rin po sa LOA dito sa school namin, sa aming department. So, yung grade 8 po namin, yung may pinakamababang learning outcome assessment. So, kaya po naisip po namin na gamitin yung integration po ng quizzes sa teaching and learning po for the second quarter.
Opo. So, ito po ay sa ODL classes lang po. Ano po?
Yes po, pang ODL classes po ito. Since ang school po namin ay meron pong ODL classes po na in-offer.
Opo, ayun. So, pa-include na lang po yun, ma'am, sa inyo pong paper. Yung
yes po,
pong ating baseline data, yung pinaghugutan po ng study, at saka yun nga po, ito ay alam naman po natin na applicable lang po talaga for ODL classes. Ano po?
Yes.
Tapos, ano pa po na? Wait lang po ha. Nandito po kasi yung mga notes ko. Ayan. So, kagaya lang din po nung nabanggit ko kanina, dun po sa inyong RQs, if I may suggest po, although ano naman po maganda po yung result ng inyong study kasi nakita po talaga natin na very effective po yung application, ano po, yung utilization po ng quizzes sa ODL classes. So, if I may suggest po, palagay na lang po yung academic performance level. Yun po talaga ang kailangang matingnan natin ano po. So, yung level of academic performance po ng participants before and then level of academic performance nila after. Tapos yun po, yung number 3 nyo naman po, yung main research question ay okay na. Ano po? Tapos, with regards naman po dito sa, ayun, so kagaya lang din po dun sa naunang presentation na pa-categorize na lang po ng ating mga main scores. Nabanggit niyo po kanina na gumamit po kayo ng revised LOA tool na po para sa ating new normal setup. So, aware naman po kayo siguro, ma'am, na di ba po nagkaroon ng changes dun? Nagkaroon po ng ilang revisions pa yung ating LOA tool
yes po. Mag-iba po yung LOA tool po natin ng first.
Opo, saka
nung last po.
Opo, pero naging stable siya nung third, naayos po siya nung third at saka nung fourth. So, yun po pa-indicate na lang din po, mas maganda po na makategorize nga din po natin yung scores nila. So, nakita ko naman po sa result na from 2 points something ay talagang nag-boost yung academic performance nila po. Ano po, after the quizzes utilization. So, parang ang ano ko po dyan is very low nung pre-test, tapos naging mastered. Ano po, nung post-test. Ayan. Another po is, yung po sa clarification lang po, ma'am, sa inyong instrument na ginamit. So, ito po ay validated, ano po, parang nabanggit niyo po kasi sa study ninyo na ito po ay adapted sa module po ng EP. Tama po?
Galing po doon sa right siya po ng division po ng writers, ng pool of writers po sa Araling Panlipunan po.
Ayun po, ayan. So, ito po ba, so ito din po ba yung nasa self-learning modules po ng mga bata? Yung pong mga questions?
Hindi po, ma'am.
Ay, okay po. Ay, ibig sabihin po, so nag-harvest lang po kayo ng mga questions.
Based po dun po, yung pong na-validate na po mula po dun sa write shop po before ng DO po natin.
Opo, tama po. Kasi yan po yung naging practice ko din. Nag-harvest din ako ng mga questions po dun sa mga nagawang. Sayang nga po, ano po, kasi iba nga po yung naibaba ng ating ng DepEd po. Okay po. So, ayun, okay naman po yung tapos, ma'am, last na lang po, ito po ba ay for 8 weeks, ano po yung instrument? So, ang lahat po ba ng MELCs ay covered po sa instrument na ito?
Apo, yung pong belt po kasi ng grade 8 ay 6 po, no? So, meron po kaming 6 na lesson po na ginawa. For each melt po, meron pong isang quizzes file po, lesson po.
Ayun. Okay po. So, yun lang po, Ma'am Divine, and to the rest of the team, congratulations po. Napakaganda po ng study. Thank you po.
Thank you po,
ma'am.
Hello po.
Yes po, ma'am.
Ano lang po. Kasi na-notice ko, teacher 2, teacher 1, so mga ano to, mga millennial. So hindi pa kayo alam, kung hindi niyo pa alam yung culture sa ating research. I'm looking forward na dadating kayo hanggang doon sa PICC pag tayo ay face to face na. So doon lang ako concerned doon sa presentation kasi dapat kapag PowerPoint presentation, ano siya, hindi ko yung no offense meant kasi siguro kasi nga bago kayo. It should be 7-liner tapos bulleted tapos yung kanyang no more yung masyado maraming movement kasi sa reader maaano siya madi-distract. Imbis niya yung text ang babasahin, yung mga kung ano yung kumikilos doon. Tapos yung color combination, yun lang. Tapos yung make it simple, then para safe, gamitin nyo na yung template ng Cavite. Kasi looking forward, dadating kayo kung saan man kayo, sa work, etc. Basta, kasi may nakikita ako sa inyong talent. Then, sa discussion of result, dapat po, kasi di ba may table, tapos, mo, dinisplay, parang inano nyo lang, binasa nyo lang yung nasa table. It should be explained further. Then, i-connect nyo sa literature para maging scholarly works talaga siya. Parang, kunyari, totoo. Pero totoo naman, kaya lang parang, yung parang maging credible siya. Para may, siya, i-connect mo sa ibang study na parehas yung inyong naging result. Para, parang iba-validate na kayo din, may studying ganon. Then, yung action plan, nyo dito, meron kayong action plan, it would be better kung nasa table siya, may standard, template. Talaga siya. Lahat may objective doon. Basta may column siya, alamin niyo yung kung ano yun. Tapos, now, sa instrument, yon masyadong mahigpit. Dapat meron kang may paalam, may permission, tapos may validation pa yon. Then dito, gumamit kayo ng, is it parang siya, no? Application, yung quiz.
Yes, opo. Online
application siya, be sure, ma-apply, ma-include niyo siya sa references para safe tayo kasi parang foreign Kasi kailangan, kasi natin na hindi lang tayo ang makakabasa ng ating kasi ipapublish to sa sa website ng DepEd. So may makakakita niyan. So pag nakita nila, oops, akin to. Di ba? Lalo na kung foreigner yung may-ari niyan. Kailangan at least naka-include doon or kung pwede, i-research niyo kung yung website niya, lalagay niyo doon sa references para safe. Tapos kung pwede nga alamin niyo kung talagang sino owner niyo para safe talaga. Kasi plagiarism natin yung mga ganun, yung mga basta kailangan ingat sa academic writing. Lahat ng technicality nandoon. Kasi mga kayo, bago kayo, hindi niyo pa alam yan. So, yun, ingat din doon. Tapos, yun, nabanggit na di ma'am, kung ano yung mga comments doon sa nauna, apply nyo rin. Kasi hindi, parang lang to, result ng mga table Merong standard din dyan. Hindi yan, parang, tapos hindi lang one sentence ang pagkaka-explain dyan para talagang mapaniwala niyo yung reader na talagang pinag-aralan niyo yan. Kailangan may mga ekla-ekla pa dyan, marami ka pang sasabihin dapat dyan. Iko-compare mo, tapos nga, sabi ko kanina, iko-connect. Kahit lang yan, pretest Kailangan meron kang, at least may explanation kang konti man lang. Kasi parang, naglagay ka nga ng table, tapos parang binasa mo lang. Hindi ka nag-discuss doon. Hindi mo inano yung result. Hindi mo siya in-explain further. Kung ano ba yung gusto mong ipakita din sa result. Lalo dun sa Ito yung pinaka-summary niya, yung paired sample test. Okay. References, parang medyo kulang. Dagdagan pa po. Okay, yun lang po. Si Ma'am, Arce. Ano na namin yung 5 minutes ni Ma'am Cindy. Ma'am Arce pa. Thank you po.
Thank you po, Ma'am Beth. Congratulations po sa ating presenter. So ito lang po namang amin, di naman po questions, kundi suggestions or recommendations for the improvement of your study. So almost the same with the first presenter, yung amin pong recommendation or suggestion. Na-mention nyo na po na na-validate naman yung instrument nyo by the master teacher. Okay po yun. Good point po yun sa study po ninyo. And then in terms of result and discussion po, tama po si Ma'am Beth, mas okay po na nire-relate po natin yung result ng study natin doon sa mga previous studies or yung nakuha po nating RRL na para maging valid po talaga yung result ng ating study. And then, pwede, minsan po, pagka hindi tayo nakakita ng nag-agree dun sa result, pwede rin naman po kung wala po talaga tayo mapigang RRL na nag-agree dun sa result, pwede rin po yung disagreement. Basta ma-justify nyo lang naman po. And then, dun sa discussion of result po natin, since meron po kayong ginamit na t-test po, tama po ba? Hindi po ako nagkakamali. You compare the difference of the pre and the post test po na anong effectiveness sa paggamit ng quizzes. Mas maganda rin po na doon po kasi sa results and discussion po natin, doon kasi po wala naman po tayong part ng study natin na meron po tayong statement of hypothesis. Kasi po yung t-test ay one of the inferential statistics. So that is why doon po natin nilalagay kung tayo po ba ay you're going to accept or reject your null hypothesis or alternate hypothesis. Para makita lang po talaga, ito po kasi yung difference ng descriptive sa inferential statistics. Since your study is the combination of descriptive and inferential statistics po. So basta po may mga tanong na is there any significant difference, relationship, yun po yung mga ginagamitan natin itong mga ganitong test na meron po tayong na-accept o nire-reject na hypothesis. And then another po is, katulad din po kanina dun sa unang study na may pre-experimental research design, since ito naman po ay parang research trying to find out the effectiveness, siguro po kung okay lang po, mas okay po yung descriptive research design pa rin po. Para po, kasi yung pong pre-experimental is considered one of the weak kind of experimental research design. And then, dun po sa ating table, although naglagay po kayo ng pre-test and post-test, sa paglalagay po natin ng title ng ating table, dapat po may table number para po hindi maliligaw po yung ating babasa na mga readers. And then, yung title po ng ating table, pwede pa pong ma-improve base po dun sa statement of the problem. Pwede nyo dun po kuhanin ang title po ng ating table. And then, huwag po tayong gumamit ng vertical lines kasi nga po ito ay educational or social research that we follow the APA style. Pag po kasi APA style ay wala po tayong vertical lines, mga horizontal lines po lang ang ating sa table. So, yun lang po. So, congratulations po sa ating study. Thank you.
Thank you po.
All right, thank you so much to our panelists. And also congratulations for a job well done to our second presenters. Thank you so much. And now let's proceed to the third entry for the session, and entitled Teachers' Challenges and Coping Mechanisms in the Implementation of Modular Distance Learning in the New Normal by Kathleen M. Cassip and Christine May D. Valentin.
Good morning, everyone. I am beyond delighted to present to you our research paper entitled Teachers' Challenges and Coping Mechanisms in the Implementation of Modular Distance Learning in the New Normal. The proponents of this study are yours truly, Ms. Kathleen M. Cassip, Teacher 3, and Ms. Christine May D. Valentin, Teacher 3, both from Rosario Elementary School. As COVID-19 pandemic affected all aspects of the society, it affected greatly all educational systems in the world, wherein the traditional classroom setup was altered instantly. As a result, the Department of Education implemented various policies to advocate the use of alternative modalities in delivering lesson content. One of these alternative modalities implemented was modular distance learning. It is one of the most preferred learning system of the majority of parents and guardians based on the result of the learner enrollment and survey form. Modular distance learning is a modality that features individualized instruction, which allows learners to use self-learning modules or SLMs in print or digital format. However, the quick instructional transition carries a wide range of challenges on the readiness of schools, and teachers had to make adjustments on how to ensure that their students have indeed learned or would learn their lessons. Hence, this study aimed to examine the challenges faced by teachers associated with the implementation of modular distance learning modality in various schools in the District of Rosario. Furthermore, this will also explore the different self-coping mechanisms adopted by teachers during this crisis. Specifically, this study aimed to answer the following research questions. Number 1, what are the challenges encountered by teachers? What are the challenges encountered by teachers associated with the implementation of modular distance learning in terms of instructional delivery and assessment? Number 2, how did the teachers cope with respect to the challenges met? And number 3, what intervention could be designed to alleviate the challenges of teachers in the implementation of modular distance learning in the District of Rosario? Scope and limitations. This research study focused mainly on the challenges encountered by teachers in the implementation of printed modular distance learning in the new normal. And the data utilized in this study was gathered through the administration of an online survey via Google Form. The determinants for the number of participants in the study was based on the data saturation, wherein common themes of the teachers' challenges had already been identified. Methodology. The qualitative method of research was used in this study. Purposive sampling technique was employed to obtain the sample data, and the respondents were composed of elementary teachers from the 8 public schools in the District of Rosario and were selected based on their accessibility, availability, and willingness to participate in the study. The qualitative data gathered were read repeatedly and subjected to thematic data analysis. They were coded, and the superordinate themes were extracted from the coded data. And to discuss the results of this study, here's my co-author, Ms. Christine May D. Valentin.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm here to discuss the results of the study. So based on the findings, 6 distinct teams were formed to describe the challenges faced by teachers in the implementation of modular distance learning modality as revealed from the thematic data analysis. So here are the challenges of teachers in terms of instructional delivery. So number 1 is lack of gadgets and internet access for communication. So As we all know, communication plays a big role in the teacher's way of providing feedback to the learners. However, because of certain factors such as internet connectivity, health risks, and lack of gadgets, it becomes difficult for the teacher respondents to inform the learners about their performance. Another concern is the inability of parents to facilitate learning at home. This is actually associated with their lack of knowledge and poor educational background. So as a result, helping the children is not possible for some parents, and this has resulted to late submission of outputs. And lastly, we have the parents and pupils' attitude towards learning. So this is another important element in the success of modular distance learning. And when a positive attitude is being maintained, there are actually countless benefits that can impact the ability of pupils to learn and solve problems. So for children to learn effectively, they must feel safe, they must feel engaged and connected, as these contribute towards a positive learning environment. But sad to note that respondents claimed for a poor quality of learning due to pupils and parents' attitude. So let's now proceed to the assessment. So there are actually two identified major factors that affects the quality of assessment revealed by the respondents in this study. So the first one points about the unreliable assessment results. So this is mainly because there is a possibility that students would ask any member of the family to answer the items included in the assessment. So nowadays, honesty and accuracy were already being left behind, since students have a wide range of resources when they are at home, and this causes much worries to the teachers. The second one is points out about students having low scores. So as identified in this research, it has been found out that low scores were given by the students in their summative tests. So the main reason for this is that most of the students are not taking the assessment seriously. So in fact, most of the students, based on the experiences of the teacher respondents, are just copying their answers from their modules. Consequently, there is no learning that took place. So based on these findings, the accuracy of assessment on this modality causes a lot of confusion to teachers, since they do not know if their students have really worked and answered the questions independently. So now let's move on to the teachers' coping mechanisms. So as teachers face different challenges in the implementation of modular distance learning, they strive to overcome such challenges through the different approaches. And based on the results of this study, the teachers in the District of Rosario have adopted various coping strategies on the different challenges that they encounter. So in terms of instructional delivery, number one is being organized and flexible. So in this new normal, flexibility, adjustments, and considerations are needed based on how a teacher understands, how a teacher responds, and how he or she manages an ever-changing environment. So even in the system, in the new learning system, education learned to adjust for those students who hardly connects with the teacher to maintain effective learning. So according to the respondents, the lack of gadgets is given and we have no control over it. They cannot submit outputs on time. So be it. So what can they do is to give them ample time to finish the activities. Another is getting support from colleagues. So of course, this is one of the most common approaches, especially if you are a novice teacher. Support from experts is really necessary. And home visitation. So this is one of the last resorts of teachers, especially if there's no way for them to communicate with the parents or learners. We also have being adaptive and innovative. So given the constantly changing demands of teaching work, adaptability is something teachers require on a regular basis. And likely plays an important role in helping them to navigate the demands of their work. And we also have the preparation of learning materials. And lastly is the utilization of various online platforms just to address the needs and queries of the students in this time of pandemic. Now let's move on to the coping mechanisms in terms of assessment. So assessment of students' learning is very important. So this is to better understand and address the extent of the gaps in education among students and student populations that have been made worse by this pandemic. So as they cope with the different challenges in the new normal, the teacher respondents revealed their innovative ways of assessing students in the context of their situation and home environment so that outcomes expected will be manifested by the students. So number one is checking the consistency of learners' outputs. We also have assisting learners at risk, development of appropriate assessment tools, conduct of pupils virtual assessment, and establishing constant communication with pupils and parents. So the foregoing findings show that teachers face a number of challenges in the implementation of modular distance learning in terms of instructional delivery and assessment. So addressing these challenges will not only help improve teachers' competence, but also enhance success rates of students and the ultimate quality of education in this time of pandemic. So challenges revealed in this study are clear manifestations that not only teachers are to be helped during this crisis, but teachers too. Although modular distance learning may not entirely new to them, the implementation of this to replace the usual face-to-face method is quite a challenge. So what are the recommendations of the researchers in this study? So number one is provision of gadgets or devices to indigent learners. Number two, necessary resources and relevant training should be provided among teachers to successfully deliver quality instruction under modular distance learning. We also have parents and home facilitators who are partners in education should at least be trained on their roles as facilitators of learning. We also have the presence of community tutors per barangay to help the parents in assisting their children at home. Coordination with barangays and other stakeholders must be strengthened to acquire the various materials and resources needed by learners. And monitoring of learners shall be put place through various touch points. And we have other two. Teachers shall give learners a set time frame to undertake a lesson or accomplish an activity. And the last one is the researchers recommend that further studies on the current situation of teachers in the implementation of new normal education be conducted. So here are our references. So to end this slide or presentation, I want to leave this quote with you in case you are going through a rough time right now under the modular distance learning brought about these challenges in the new normal. I think this is meant for you. Be brave, teachers. Today you may face challenges, impossible tasks, or difficult problems, or you may not, and your students might. Whatever the case, put on your brave face and teach on. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ma'am Kathleen and Ma'am Christine. And now we are open for a 5-minute question and answer portion, or our panelists might add or ask you something.
Good morning, everyone. Maganda yung ano nyo kasi quali, no? Naiiba siya. Ang galing. Kasi bihira ang mag-quali. Pero in every organization, meron siya talagang prescribed parang format sa research. So parang medyo hindi align yung chapter 4, chapter 5. Kasi parang dun yan sa mga sa thesis yan eh. So, paki-aral nyo or paki-apply nyo yung kung ano talaga yung prescribe natin. Kasi sa other research, ano na siya parang reflection, gano'n. Na wala siyang chapter 4, chapter 5, kasi sa thesis po yun. Siguro na ano lang. Pero ang galing nung ano nyo, nung mga result, dahil talagang ini-explain nyo, no? Ini-explain nyo bawat kung ano yung nasa result, nire-relate nyo talaga sa literature. So, ang ganda niya. Tapos, ano lang, yung sa presentation, mas maganda ano nyo, kasi nakakita na ako sa work presentation, kapag quali, nilalagay talaga yung actual na sagot. Kasi ang mga reader, hindi naman nila mababasa yung manuscript lahat ng makikinig sa inyo, walang opportunity na mabasa yung manuscript talaga. So why not, dun pa lang, lalo't recorded yan, tapos kung saan makarating yan, makikita yung actual talagang sagot, para talagang napakaganda ng research. Tapos sa kanyo, parang 2 column, yung actual na sagot, tapos yung interpretation nyo as a researcher. Di ba po? Mas maganda yung ganon.
Okay po, ma'am.
Tapos, wala namang masyado kasi yun lang, kasi maging aware kayo sa time. Kung minsan alisin niyo na yung mga quote kasi kanina time's up masanay kayo kasi
Okay,
mga bata kayo, nako, kung saan pa kayo makakarating, kailangan sanay kayo sa 10 minutes. Kailangan doon, tapos practicein. Tapos ito nga, yung aming pag-TTA, 5 minutes din, 3 kami. Okay? Sige po, Ma'am Lloyds or Ma'am Cindy.
Thank you po, Ma'am Beth.
Konti-konti lang, huwag isagad.
Good morning po. Hello po. Thank you po, Ma'am Beth. Good morning. Congratulations to your presentation. Actually, isa to sa mga klase ng research ngayon na trending, yung phenomenological kind of research. And then, ako ngayon pa rin lang din gumagawa ng ganitong klase ng study. Siyempre, nagtatry tayo, Ma'am Beth, ng mga mga bago. Parang dati kung gumagawa na tayo ng mga quantitative, why mag-try din po ng bago. So, I comment po, maganda po yung study niya na po. Talaga, Ma'am Beth, okay na okay yung comment ni Ma'am. Opo, pares kami ng comment ni Ma'am dun sa format ng paper kasi parang may chapter 4 and 5 pa ba? Oo, parang pa-check na lang yung format po, Ma'am, noong ating paper. Nakakainayang po kasi maganda po talaga din yung study. And tama rin po si Ma'am Beth na yung nandun naman sa paper, yung mga mismong sagot ng respondent, ganun po kasi ang phenomenological. Kailangan i-cite po talaga yung actual answer ng respondent na wala po dito sa slide deck presentation. And then, okay, na-validate po ba yung ating instrument? Kung hindi po, pa-validate na lang po sa expert para talagang valid po yung ating result. Pasensya na po sa maingay na aso. Then, I commend for the clarity of your slide deck presentation, okay to the graphics. And then, siguro nga po maging aware din lang po tayo dun sa time kasi nga po, sa ibang mga presentation, limited po yung time. So yung mga mahalaga lang po talaga, alam ko po mahalaga po yung content ng ating paper, pero pipili po talaga tayo ng best. Parang katulad din lang po yun ng abstract na alam po natin mahalaga nating sabihin yung result lahat. Kaya lang po kung limited sa 200 to 250 words, napipilitan po tayong tanggalin natin yung mahalaga din at piliin lang yung pinakamahalaga. So yun lang po ang aking comments and suggestion na naisulat. So tama po, parang dun lang po sa result and discussion, need po talaga na magbanggit ng kung nag-agree or disagree po dun sa inyong RRL na nakuha dun sa inyong first part on your research. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Ma'am Lloyda.
Good morning po.
Good morning po, Ma'am.
Ayan, first and foremost, yun po, napansin ko din po, kagaya lang din po ng nabanggit po kanina ng ating Ma'am Lloyda, tsaka po ng ating Ma'am Beth, with regards po dun sa yung format po, yung structure po ng paper natin. Pakisunod nga po natin yung DepEd prescribed format for the basic research. And then, clarification lang po, ito po ay nabanggit nyo na 8 elementary teachers. Ano po? By the way, ako po ay, yung term nga po ni Ma'am Riza is yung kinilig. Kasi nga po ang inyong research ay phenomenological. And ako po bilang isang English teacher ay more on to ano nga po ako quali research kasi ayoko po talaga ng stat. Ayun po, I'll be very honest with you po. So, kaya po ito ang napipili kong mga type of researches, phenomenological, kasi more on ano po ito thematic analysis. Hindi kailangan ng ano po hindi kailangan ng numbers. Ano po? So, natuwa po ako na kayo po ay nag-come up ng ganitong study, phenomenological in nature, kasi ito po ba yung klase ng study na talagang magi-immerse tayo doon sa yung sa feelings, yung experiences, at saka yung coping mechanisms nga po ng mga teachers natin in the new normal. At nabanggit nyo po dito ay 8 elementary teachers po. Ano po? Ito po ba ay buong district po, tama? 8
Yes,
elementary teachers. Ayun. So, pa-include na lang po, ma'am, sa ating scope and limitation, yung pong na kayo po ay, ito po ay under the lens lang ng mga elementary teachers. Kasi ang concern ko po is paano po yung sa secondary. Po pwede rin po kasi na may mag-emerge din na themes coming from the responses of the secondary teachers. Ano po? Siguro po pwede natin siyang i-include din sa recommendation na mag-come up naman po ng another study or pwede pong pangkalahatan, maisum up din po natin yung secondary teachers. Ano po? So, ayan. Tapos po, if I may suggest din po, kasi maganda na po yung study nyo napakalinaw. Yun nga lang po, pakisunod po natin yung DepEd prescribed format. Another thing po is, much better din po kung, kasi napakaganda po ng study ninyo and ito po ay possibly ay maipresent nyo pa sa national, international, ano po, mas maganda po kung mapa-validate din po natin sa mga language editors. Kasi minsan po, nakakaligtaan natin yung tense consistency, po lalo na po pag full manuscript, dapat po ay past tense na po yan kasi na-conduct na nga po. Tapos, yun, with regards po dun sa mga responses na nabanggit nga po ng Ma'am Beth and Ma'am Lloyda kanina na dapat po ay included sa ating presentation. If I may suggest po, pwede po tayong, since di ba nga po napopromote na yung mga infographic video presentations, ito naman po yung natutunan ko lang sa CIP, yung paggamit po ng ng affinity diagram. Pwede po natin siyang i-include sa presentation kasi sa affinity diagram po presented na dun yung responses nung ating pong mga respondents. So, pwede po natin siyang i-include sa ating slide deck, sa ating presentation. So, yun lamang po. Congratulations po.
Thank you very much po, Ma'am Cindy.
Ma'am, add ko lang. Sa language po, ayan, si Ma'am Cindy. Diyan na kayo lumapit. Huwag na po kayong lumayo kay Ma'am Cindy po. Magaling
Thank you po, Ma'am.
Oo, Ateneo yan. Kasama namin sa Ateneo. Galing yan, Ma'am.
Yes po, highly recommended.
Yes. Sige po.
O hindi po, marami pa pong kakainin bigas.
All right, thank you so much to our panelists and also thank you and congratulations to our researchers. And now let's proceed to the last presenter for this session. The study is entitled #Malasakitan Governance, a Gender and Development Program to Improve the Self-Efficacy of Teachers and Administrative Staff Amidst Pandemic by Donato A. Bataclan, Julius Cesar T. Lailo, and Thelma E. Villanueva.
Okay. So a blessed morning to each and everyone. So I'm Mr. Donato Bataclan, a principal from Rosario National High School. So our school have the school banner program or school flagship or school mantra, which is Rosario National High School, Malasakitan, Collaboration for Educational Excellence. For the title of our research, hashtag Malasakitan Governance, a gender and development program to improve the self-efficacy of teachers and administrative staff amidst pandemic. So kasama ko po dito si Sir Julius Cesar Lailo, Teacher 3, and also Ma'am Telma E. Villanueva, Head Teacher 2 from Araling Panlipunan Department. Next slide, please. Sunod pong slide, Sir JC.
Yes po, parang naglalag po yata. Opo. Opo, naglag lang po ako. Wait lang po. Wait lang po, naglag yata.
So according to Achuria and Bilardon on 2012, self-efficacy plays a major role in how teachers select assignments and activities, shaping their efforts and perseverance when addressing certain challenges, and even in their emotional response to difficult situations. And self-efficacy ultimately accounts for a cognitive construct that mediates between knowledge and actions. So in other words, students benefit from having teachers with high self-efficacy. So for the research objective, so this study aimed to examine the effectiveness of the Malasakitan governance as a gender and development program to improve the self-efficacy of the teachers and administrative staff in Rosario National High School amidst pandemic. And for the innovation, intervention, and strategy, we use the acronyms Malasakitan. So ano ba yung M? M for model school in recognizing and scaling up research in about best practices. And letter A, articulated and open channels of communications. And letter L, latest engagement in effective and decision-making through empowering teachers. And letter A, affectionate and committed to public interest, professionalism. And S, for the letter S, systematic push on higher levels of practice and in SBM. And letter A, active monitoring and supervision of the teaching and learning activities. And letter K, knowledgeable in the optimization, utilization, and integrations of ICT. And I, intensive implementation of merit system and highly supportive open ranking procedure. And letter T, trusted school as good implementer of child-friendly school system. And letter A, accurate and regular finances report on MOE and other funds. And letter N, nurturing productive partnership with all stakeholders. For our research questions, what is the result of the pretest of the participants of the study before the integrations of Malasakitan governance? Also, what is the result of the post-test of the participants of the study after the integrations of hashtag Malasakitan governance? And last, is there statistically significant difference on the free test and post test after the engagement of the teachers and administrative staff to Malasakitan governance? And for the continuations of our presentation, I will turn over to Sir JC Lilo. Thank you.
Thank you very much po, Sir Donnie. For the methodology of the study, the research design used was pre-experimental, pre-test post-test design. The reason for selecting the research design pre-experimental is due to the fact that although it is the weakest research design among the experimental research design, I think this is the most fit, especially I think it depends on the situation. For example, na ang respondents po ay teachers, which teachers or another example is PED students, in which we cannot divide into two the respondents. So since ang target po namin ay ma-improve yung self-efficacy, so hindi na po namin sila divide into two, but rather we choose one group, then pre-test post-test design. Next, for the respondents, we selected 50 teachers with low self-efficacy and were selected using purposive sampling technique. The instrument used was a 30-item standardized self-efficacy scale from Bandura, and data were analyzed using mean, standard deviation, mean, and Wilkinson sign rank test since the type of data was in ordinal form. For the results of the study, overall, with regards to the pretest result, overall, the self-efficacy of the participants yielded with 1.34 mean with interpretation of low. Results revealed that the participants have very low self-efficacy. For the results of research question number 2, after the integration of Malasakitan governance, overall, it yielded with a mean of 3.74 with interpretation of very high. For the results of research question number 3, overall, the p-value was 0.000 with interpretation of with significant difference. Results revealed that there is significant difference between pre-test and post-test results with regards to the self-efficacy of the teachers after the integration of Malasakitan governance. For the conclusions of the study, the findings revealed that Malasakitan governance as a gender and development program improved the self-efficacy of the teachers and the administrative staff. The study shown that teachers with high levels of self-efficacy experience higher levels of job satisfaction, lower levels of job-related stress, and face less difficulties in dealing with students' misbehavior during new normal. The implications of the study, schools division superintendent, a former schools division superintendent of Division Cavite Province once said that happy teachers produce happy learners. In classrooms with teachers of high instructional self-efficacy, students are more academically motivated, more likely to have high self-efficacy themselves, and more likely to achieve academic success. In other words, students benefit from having teachers with high self-efficacy. So here are the references we use for the study. And thank you very much and God bless.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Donato and Sir JC, for your research. And now we are open for a 5-minute question and answer portion. Or have our panelists add something or suggest something.
Good morning po. Good morning. Congratulations po sa ating presentations.
Morning po.
Parang natakot po ako magbigay ng comment. Hindi. Ano lang po ito. Dagdag lang po para lalong gumanda pa. Alam ko po best na po talaga yung inyong paper, yung inyong pong research. Tama po si Sir Lilo, meron po mga case na minsan nga po kasi pagka-konti lang yung respondent, the pre-experimental is not applicable. Pero kung malawak po yung sakop ng study natin, that is the time that the pre-experimental is applicable. So, nag-mention po kayo ng it is all about self-efficacy, na-mention po doon sa general statement of the problem, and then pre- and post-test. Siguro po in other part of the paper lang po, mahalaga din po na magkarugtong po sila para hindi po malilito yung babasa na pre-test and post-test, then you are referring with the self-efficacy po. Para lang po may congruency on the terms that used on the different parts of the research. Then, napavalidate niyo po, sir, yung inyong research instrument? Kahit po ito'y adapted or standardized na? Okay na po.
Yes po, napavalidate po namin siya sa psychometry siya.
At saka si sir naman po, alam ko, expert na rin po kayo doon. Okay naman po yan. Thank you po. Then, last na lang po, so the result of your discussion, to add more validity on the result, you may include or relate that to the related literature na search po ninyo on the first part of your study. So once again po, congratulations po, and looking forward po na makasama po namin kayo sa iba pa pong conferences. Thank you.
Yes
Hello
po, thank you
po.
po, ma'am. God bless po.
Good morning po, Sir Donato Bataclan and Sir Lailo. Ano po, ang akin lang isa lang po para ito po ba'y program or research by Ma'am Quintos na inadapt, ni-replicate or dinuplicate, I mean. Sorry.
Ma'am, ito po ay hindi po siya replication but continuation po siya.
Okay.
Actually, more on adaptation siya. Continuation siya, ma'am, nung study ni Ma'am Emily Quintos.
Okay. Kasi po
kinuha po namin siya doon sa kanya.
Ano nga po,
Empowered governance.
mas maganda po kasi siya kasi ang trend natin ngayon hindi na yung more on capability building tapos yung presentation ng mga research, more on utilization na tayo. Kaya mas maganda nga parang mai-report natin na na-utilize yung research ni Ma'am Quintos. Ganun po siya.
Yes po.
Kasi yun na, doon na tayo ngayon sa utilization. Pero pala siya, continuation. So parang ganun na rin po, Parang
actually po yung kay Ma'am Emily.
Kailangan po magkaroon po ng report tungkol doon sa utilization para medyo aangat na yung division natin regarding sa utilization. Kasi yung graph na napakita ni Ma'am May noon, parang doon pa lang tayo, kukonti pa lang doon. Kaya nga etong mga MRC parang nagbabalak ng tungkol sa mga capability building with regards to utilization para maintindihan ng mga researcher kasi ibang level na tayo ngayon . Pero eto nga, hindi naman to sinasabi kong negative. Siya po ay mas maganda kasi replication siya or parang yan kagaya ng continuation nung research, nung another research. Kasi pang division yung kay ma'am, tapos kayo po ay school level. Maganda po yan, na-apply not only the program but nagmula siya sa research. Ganun po. Thank you po. Thank you, sir.
Thank you po, Ma'am Beth. God bless.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Good morning po. Good morning, Sir JC.
Good morning po, Ma'am Cindy.
Ayan. Binalikan ko po kasi ng paper niya. Wait lang po. Ayan. Sir, ang ganda po ng inyong study. Actually, na-inspire nga po ako dito, sir. Kasi under po siya ng, Gender and Development Program. Ito po kasi pasok talaga sa pasok po siya sa dimensions ng BELCP. Ano po kasi yan ang trend ngayon . Kaya talagang naging interesado po ako dito sa inyong study. If I may suggest lang po, sir, dito po sa inyo, kasi okay na po itong context and rationale ninyo, pa-include na lang po ulit, kagaya lang din po ng nasabi ko kanina, kasi nga po sa AR, ini-include din po natin yung baseline data natin, kung bakit po tayo come up po ng ganitong bakit nyo po nabuo yung malasakitan governance. So meron po kasi itong hugot di ba po sir? And nakita ko naman po doon sa ibang parts ng study ninyo na banggit nyo nga po doon na lumabas po sa pag-aaral ninyo na 50 teachers po sir ay nasa low self-efficacy.
Yes po.
Ayun, sir. Ayun po. So, pa-include na lang po siya under ng context and rational na yun po yung pinaghugutan ng inyo pong study. Ano po? Babanggitin nyo na po siya sa context and rational. Tapos, yun parang yun po kasi yung specifically ay naging situation sa school ninyo kung bakit po nangailangan kayo ng ganitong pananaliksik. Ano po? So, yun po. And then,
Yes po.
ayun sir, under naman po ng research questions, kagaya lang din po kanina pag AR nga po ay kasi di ba po to improve the self-efficacy ng mga respondents, ng mga teacher participants. So siguro po dito sa first two RQs po natin, instead na result of the pretest, siguro po maganda kung yung self-efficacy level ng participants before the integration, before and after. Then sa number 2, self-efficacy level, kung di po ako nagkakamali, pa-correct na lang po ako, self-efficacy level ng participants after naman ng integration ng malasakitan governance. Ayun po. So in a way po, kumbaga, talagang aalamin po natin kung nag-improve po ba talaga yung level of self-efficacy ng ating pong mga teachers. Ano po? Kasi ang ganda po ng strategies dun sa malasakitan governance niyo po. And then, ayun, pagdating po dun sa discussion ng results and reflection, ayun, wala po akong masabi kasi na specify nyo naman po dito yung result ng pretest na yun nga po nasa low self-efficacy level po sila na po ang mga participants. And then pagdating po ng post-test ay yun, naging high na po yung kanilang self-efficacy. So from there, nakita nga po natin, sir, na nag-improve yung self-efficacy level ng mga teacher participants. So yun po, doon na lang po sa under ng RQs na kasi okay na naman po dun sa discussion ng results. Na-indicate nyo po dun na nagkaroon ng improvement, na categorize nyo po yung result. So under yung sa research questions na lang po talaga, sir. Tapos po, ayun, so yun lang po, sir. Very interested po ako sa inyong study at ako po ay nagre-request. Ayan, tayo naman po ay nagkausap na po dati, sir. So, tatanungin ko na lang po kayo with regards to this. Thank you po, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you po. And God bless po.
Thank you po.
All right, thank you so much to our panelists and of course to our last presenters. Congratulations to you. And that would be the last entry for this session, and to award the certificates and also to add informations for what will be happening tomorrow for the second day of this activity. May I call in our CARE President, Mr. Aries B Manalo.
Okay, bago po i-present ang certificate po sa ating mga panelists, muli po ay isang pasasalamat po sa talaga naman ang ganda po ng feedback ng ating mga researcher, manunood sa ating mga panelists. Marami po silang natutunan na input with regards to the way they give the technical assistance po sa ating mga researcher. Maraming salamat po. Alam talaga naman po ng aking mga kaibigan ay hindi matatawaran ang kanilang kaalaman pagdating po sa research. Thank you, Ma'am Loida Arce, na mukhang nasa biyahe na po yata. At si Ma'am Elizabeth Dizon at si Ma'am
Kayo po, idol.
Alejandrino.
Kayo po.
Idol naman. Ma'am,
Thank
kayo
you
nga
po.
ang idol.
Ay, ikaw po. Biro mo kagabi. Grabe ang
Wala po
award.
na si Sir Aris.
Opo. Basta po, pag alam nyo naman po, tayo naman po mga researcher ay kanya-kanya ng portal. Siguro po pag kami po ay nagkaroon ng ng aming capability building with regards to qualitative research, kayo naman po ang aming kukunin. Kayo po ay muli namin kukunin. Okay po. So, to awards po, the certificate of recognition. Sensya na po, hindi pa po naman na-edit. So, certificate of recognition was given to Loida Arce for sharing her time and expertise as panelist during the first Rosario District Virtual Research Colloquium held on October 29 to 30, 2021 via Google Meet, signed by Sir Joelle Operegrino, Public School District Supervisor, and Sir Ed Garcia, Public School District Supervisor. Congratulations, Ma'am Loida. Let's give Ma'am Loida a round of virtual clap po.
Thank you po, Sir Aris, at sa buong pamunuan po ng Rosario District. Thank you po.
Okay.
Very much welcome po.
The same certificate is awarded to Ma'am Elizabeth B. Dizon for serving as a panelist po ng ating first Rosario District Virtual Colloquium. Ma'am, thank you po, Ma'am Dizon.
Ay, salamat din po sa opportunity. May
Okay
learning
po.
din po akong nakuha. Thank you po.
Thank you po. Same certificate was also awarded to Ma'am Cindy and Alejandrino. Ma'am Cindy, thank you very much.
Thank you
Miss
so
you.
much, Sir Aris, sa tiwala.
Namimiss ko na tulong dunong, Ma'am Cindy.
Opo. Sa way back, UP.
Okay po.
UP days po natin.
UP, opo. Sige po, at sana tayo magkasama pong muli.
Opo.
Thank you po. Okay, so dito po nagtatapos ang ating first day at sa susunod na araw po yung ating pong mga infographic video ay tinitingnan na din po ng ating mga panelists so that makita na po nila doon po sa mga entry ng infographic video din po nila so that makita nila sino ba yung talaga namang nakasunod doon po sa mga criteria for the best infographic video. Lahat po ng result ay malalaman po natin sa second day which will happen at 1 o'clock po tayo magla-live po bukas. So yung araw po na ito at yung bukas po ng umaga, you could browse on the Rosario social media for all the infographic video presentation ng ating mga researchers. Ngayon po, kung may mga tanong po with regards to the infographic video, with regards to the panelists, you could message po yung ating mga researchers po. Then, also, huwag pong kalilimutan, baka po i-post ni Ma'am Cassipit, ipopost o papadala po sa atin ng Ma'am Kathleen Cassip ng ating pong katame, yung ating pong attendance for the day at yung evaluation po natin ay ibibigay po sa inyo through the group or through your research coordinator. Marami pong lahat po ng pasasalamat kay Ma'am May Andy Romanes sa ating pong parent supervisor. Mukha po yata si Ma'am Emily Quinto po ay medyo busy pa rin po sa kanyang meeting. Kung sakali man po ay pinahahatid po natin na baka po bukas ay makasingit si Ma'am para po sa ating colloquium or for the presentation po ng ating mga infographics video. Okay po, meron po tayong siyam na entry po for the infographic video. Okay po. Tapos po, yung mga hindi naman po sumali, as I said po, lahat po iyon ay nasa Rosario Educational Social Media kung saan po ay mapapanood nyo at pwede po kayo magtanong sa ating po mga researcher. Okay po? So, yun lamang po. And congratulations po sa buong technical team ng Rosario, sa lahat po ng officer ng Rosario Association of Research Enthusiasts, sa ating pong mga MRC, coordinator, at po ng mga guro na nakatulong namin para po dito sa first virtual Rosario District Colloquium. Maraming salamat po. Thank you po.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Aris. And again, thank you so much for joining us here today in our first virtual research colloquium in 2021. This is the day 1 of 2 with the theme Research Innovation Responding to the Needs of New Normal. So activities or other activities will be resumed tomorrow at exactly 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Thank you so much.
Yeah.